I don't want to set the world on fire.
Please welcome Tom Sumner.
A flame in your heart.
Knows I'm here, and your white privilege isn't going to save you tonight, okay, guys?
Desire, and that one is you. No other will do. I've lost all ambition for worldly acclaim.
Any government is to monopolize as much violence as possible in order for it to inflict it on as many citizens as possible.
I've been on this weird anarchist arc for a few months now. This is playing by their rules, exactly how they are written.
I don't want to set the world on fire. I just want to start a flame.
You're watching the Dog and Chicken Show. Like, share, subscribe.
That's right. It's time for the Dog and Chicken Show.
Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 133 of the Dog and Chicken Show right here on Big Buckin' Empire. I am officially your Big Buckin' Emperor, thanks to the man down below doing such a great job picking at WrestleMania. Not only did I pick the belt back up, but my emperorship has been cemented. Anyway, how's it going, Tony? How's it going, Phil?
Well, folks,
that's all we got. Thanks for coming tonight.
Yeah. Well, folks, since that sparkling introduction, welcome one and all to Big Buckin' Empire 133. Let's get a little musky, folks. Folks, yes, if you are wondering what Chicken's talking about, we are coming off the heels of WrestleMania, where your King of Extreme sadly was not able to retain the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast Championship, which you can find Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast on YouTube and Spotify, as well as RevRest Pod on Twitch and Twitter. But yes, folks, your King of Extreme, Phil KOE, which you can find at KOE Nation on YouTube, KOE Nation on Twitch, KOE Nation on TikTok. Yes, folks, it's on this Philosopher King, Phil KOE, Elon Musk 2024. We will get there, folks. But yes, KOE Nation, the place to be. I was not able to retain the championship against Chicken here of Big Buckin' Empire on YouTube and Facebook. And now his emperorship is undisputed, undenied, unanswerable and undeniable once again, folks. Yes, Chicken is the emperor of Tiberius D. Welcome to the show. Also a good shit, that Tiberius D. Check him out, folks. But yes, but worry not, folks. I am still your King of Extreme. I am still the Lord of the Scottish Highlands. I am still the prince and potentate of the political parlance, and one damn handsome man, if I do say so myself. And we are all here together for episode 133, and I can't wait to get into it. So, gentlemen, what are you drinking tonight?
I tapped into a bottle of High West. My brother had tried it, so but I do have a selection behind me. Of course, in case we get into stars, I'll let you guys pick which shot I take if we get to that point tonight. But right now, yes, just some High West, and then I plan on getting in. I got some Maker's Cast Strength 46. If there are no stars, and I just get to sipping, that's where I'll be heading. Tony, what do you got?
I am polishing off a lovely bargain bottle of Jim Beam Black. She's empty now, Beautiful. So we'll see what I tap into next. And I did bring down a beer for just in case if we get into stars, but it is National Beer Day, so cheers, all you.
I might have to have a beer later then.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And I'm Tony fucking G, by the way. Like, share, subscribe, and follow me at Tony the Rod 2.0 on TikTok, and of course, everywhere else in the Big Buckin' Empire, even though Chicken cheated to win the title and Phil screwed me over. It is what it is.
Anywho, we're going with your truth.
What are we doing tonight, guys?
Jeez, it's kind of like the laptop wasn't real, right?
Yeah, it wasn't real until it absolutely was.
Yeah.
But this evening I am drinking the Glenfiddich 19-year-old red wine cask. I was going to get into the bourbon cask, but then when I pulled it, the cork literally fell into 1,000 pieces, and now I have to get a wine bottle opener to get the rest of the cork out to enjoy the rest of that whiskey.
sucks.
So this evening I'm having the red wine cask edition.
Damn.
And again, T, that's another reason why, synthetic corks are not all that bad.
Hey,
Little-
yep.
little-
That's damn
Little side
right.
note, Justin Chris also bet me a bottle of Maker's Mark 101 on WrestleMania night. So and
Ever
I'm coming
since
down
this whole
I'm coming down for his
bottle bet-
bachelor party. I'm coming to collect, buddy.
Yeah, ever since this bottle bet shit started, he's always backed me as his horse, and it's never worked out for me yet.
I warned you.
It is just a bad mojo thing. He's got to bet on Phil next time. I swear to God. So, with all that being
Anyway.
said, what do we got going? I guess first let me pop up the starboard just in case anybody's feeling frisky. Do not feel obligated, but of course it's here. It's here for anybody who wants to jump in on it. We all know the drill at this point. But
Yeah.
I got a
Uh-huh.
bottle of
Don't.
gin here also, folks, but I don't have to worry about it because none of you in the audience have got the gall, have got the guts, have got the temerity, have got the intestinal fortitude, have got the balls to make me do a shot of gin. So I ain't got to worry about it. This bottle cap will remain uncracked, and my glass for taking shots of gin will remain dry this evening because none of you got it. You ain't got it. You ain't got the moxie, kid.
Week after
right.
week after week, he just demoralizes the crowd into getting
Come
himself
on.
to drink a lot of gin. I really think
Hey,
Phil
I'm a
actually
liar.
loves gin.
I
That Phil
think
sir
he does.
is
That
back,
is
yes.
not the case.
It
That
is
is
true. It's true, and this is just your excuse for drinking it. So, what we've got here, as always, 500 stars to make somebody rant about something of your choosing, 500 stars to make somebody sing a song of your choosing, 100 stars per minute to mute somebody, 500 stars for a beer chug. The price doubles, so 500 will turn into 1,000, 1,000 turns into 2,000, so on and so forth. Same thing for a shot, 500 turns into 1,000, and 300 stars to request a custom meme. The one thing I think we need to mention is, for the next 5 minutes, we're probably just going to go ahead and do like an 80% off deal on Phil Gin shots.
Hey,
I
Tony,
like that.
y'all are a bunch of bastards, but I don't even need to worry about that because neither one
So
of
it's
you.
like 100 stars for his first shot. Is that?
Yeah,
No.
I think like 100 stars would be great.
I think that's.
I think we should go like 80% standard value, not 80% off. I don't consent
Oh,
to this.
Standard
not
value of
80%
stars.
off?
Yeah.
So $4 rather than $5 will
Okay.
be.
All right, I guess that's fair.
All right.
Hey,
All
actually,
right,
since
so-
it's like National
But I don't
Beer
have
Day,
to
I
worry
think,
about it because nobody's got the guts to do it.
Wait,
I don't need to
if
worry.
it's National Beer Day, I think we should make Phil chug beer instead.
Oh God, he hates that as much as gin.
I'm just
so.
throwing that out there, folks. I mean, you do with
I
that.
don't
He
really
might hate that
have-
more than gin.
I only have one beer in my fridge, though.
You do
Okay.
not. You have several. I just saw them on Sunday.
Tony, I think
Shut
you're
the
full of
fuck
shit.
up, Tony.
Yeah,
Tony, shut your goddamn whore mouth.
I
Because
happen to notice
most
when
of
I grabbed
those
one.
I'm saving for Andre the Giant Beer Fest because I want to review them for that night. So you shut your whore mouth, T. It's
Bud Light.
Yeah.
Nah, you don't want to review that.
no,
Anyway.
I've got like Chimay Trappist Ale and Orval Trappist Ale.
I didn't say
and,
one of the good ones.
and like is a really juicy IPA because the
juicy.
fans saw that I didn't like IPA. So one guy said, "Try Dragon Juice IPA." I'm like, oh god.
Sounds like it's
That
worse.
sounds delicious.
And Justin gets
gets
Fireball.
Fireball.
Oh, hello, Tyler. How are we doing this evening? But I've got this bottle of gin here, but Tony, when you're saying, "Oh, I love gin," I am drinking 19-year-old Scotch, sir. What in the world makes you think I want a drop of gin to ruin my night?
It's just your tenacity on forcing
just
people
wanna
to
s-
make
I
you
just-
drink it.
Well, again, I'm not making anybody do anything. I'm just pointing out that they ain't got the guts. They ain't got it within them. They don't have the ability. They don't have the drive.
So
they
you
don't
did,
have
like-
that conquering, achieving
Jesus
You
Christ.
did
that
8
type
shots.
of personality that they need.
You
What?
did 8 shots of gin in 50 minutes a few weeks ago.
I think it was
was
more like
beautiful.
7 over an hour and 20 minutes.
No, it was 8. It was 8. It might have been 9 total, the whole show.
No, shut your whore mouth. I challenge this. So yes, so
It's not like
folks,
I can watch that and verify those numbers. No.
like now we are at a point where we cannot say Musk. You're lucky I'm saving my money for this week. Like I said, your king of extreme is vindicated. As much as Jesus. I mean, Justin, Utu. I mean, why would you want to like ruin any cocktail that requires God's own cow milk with that almond beverage? And but just a quick aside, guys, California is going through a real bad drought, and almonds are going to be a lot more scarce than they were in previous years. I'm not saying this is some sort of hyperbole bullshit. Just boy howdy, California's drought keeps getting worse and worse and worse. Yes,
well,
boy howdy,
drought. I'm gonna scroll up real quick because Justin did say something earlier. And this is breaking news. The town of Edison, Nebraska, just got told to evacuate because of a wildfire.
Oh shit!
Prayers with all y'all.
Yeah, know anybody out that direction? Be reaching out, and prayers to anybody out there. Obviously, scary situation. Usually not something we worry about in Nebraska, but it is what it is right now.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Well, we'll see. Let's
see. What other comments do we have before? Do we want to get into the first story? Or are we going to order that cardboard cutout right away? Are we going to do that?
We got a couple of comments
out of the way. We've been.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Tiberius D asks, y'all ever have guests? We have several times actually. It's just we're a pretty chill show here. We try to, have a fun time with folks. And if you're chill and cool about shit, then we have an open border policy for people who are cool.
We even have Tom on here for a few minutes a week or so ago. So we do have guests, no matter how credible or not. I mean, we are definitely just as open arms as it gets. The Biden administration approves.
I'll let you guys decide.
Policy. It's
I think
crazy
Ty is fucking great, but I'll send him a StreamYard link anytime he wants to come on. If you guys,
this show sucked without Phil even more than normal. LOL.
Oh wow, thanks, Zombie Batman.
Damn.
Well,
zombie.
I mean, this man speaks the truth. I mean, I am the man of the hour, the man with the power, the man that makes the other podcast cower. I bring the fucking slickness. I bring the fucking destruction. I bring the fucking goodness, and it looks like I bring the fucking gin shot. Fuck.
Yay!
You're right. It did suck without him.
It did. It was brutal. I hated myself. I hated myself when we didn't have Phil. It's just a shame. Just get all it in on him.
This is a twofer, folks. Yes, give me full here because I'm also going to give an impromptu, very quick review of Beefeater because I've never had Beefeater before. Never had it. So I'm hoping this is better than Nebraska's Good Life gin, but that was the best gin I've ever had. Oh, because it was better than Tanqueray. So this is going to be bad. You bring the fucks for sure. Oh, I've got all the fucks to give. When people say I got no fucks to give, that's because I took all the fucks. So here we go, folks.
I think I'm going to have Phil announce at my wedding.
If you want your wedding to be about Phil, do that.
Yeah, I was going to say, be like, by the way, make sure you look at Phil KOE on YouTube and Twitch.
Go to Big Fucking Empire.
Yes, this particular wedding brought to you by Linktree/Big Buckin.
How's it smell, Phil?
I bet it doesn't smell like beef.
Okay, you know how Tanqueray smells like hairspray and like when a battery gets too hot? This just smells like hairspray. So that's how it hits the nose. Oh, this is going to be just ducky. So, folks, as I always like to say, it's the old Gaelic Irish toast to fighting, stealing, and drinking. If you're going to fight, may it be for a friend. If you're going to steal, may it be a lover's heart. And if you're going to drink, well, I hope it's with me.
It's really good gin.
Oh, man. Look how happy he is.
Whoa! 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 What the fuck is this shit?
That's high quality gin, Phil.
Baby. This is why you don't buy the gin off the bottom shelf at the grocery store, Phil.
Okay, bring it in full here for a second. Bring it in full here for a
Sure?
second, chicken. My review of this is
we got it. You spit it out.
No, I downed it, but I just had to spit out what was left in my mouth. But its palate is that of battery acid. If battery acid was somehow able to be sustained in the mouth, you get the slightest hint of juniper for a second before it's just like gnarly ass, like if you ever accidentally sprayed hairspray in your mouth. And that, folks, in terms of gin, I'm gonna give that like 1 star on a 5-star scale. In terms of clear spirits, I'm gonna give that like a 1/4 star in terms of clear spirits. And dear Lord Almighty God, if you're at all good in this life, this shit will never touch your lips again.
Here,
That's my review.
Love it.
So
that sounds awesome. I can't wait to try Beefeater gin for the first time ever.
Yeah, I'm sure when I upload that review to KOE Nation, they're just gonna like, can we please just send you cases of it?
I need to back up to Justin's prior comment. He said, never mind, I don't want my family to know what I watch. This is as bad as porn. No, Justin, you're doing this backwards. You need to normalize this show. Okay? Porn's already normal. All right. They just don't want to talk about it. Normalize this show, and you don't have to necessarily talk about it, but normalize it.
Well, yes, our show is the one thing that should be normalized. The dog and chicken show here at Big Buck and Empire. It is the only behavior that's necessary for normalization. And also, like I've said on other big panels before, there is one form of nationalism that is good, and it is necessary. And that's KOE Nation nationalism. Yes, folks, that is the best nationalism ever imaginable. But folks, now that silliness is hopefully done for the night, because I ain't got to worry about it. Nobody's going to put $10 down because they ain't got the moxie. They ain't got it within them. They don't have that championship drive to be the best that they can be to make me do another shot. So I don't have to worry about it.
Technically, it was supposed to be 20% off. So there's an extra 100 stars there for anybody. And they, so I overpaid. Okay.
So, all right, if that's the case, there's an extra 100 stars towards the next shot. You guys are mother buckers. I love you, Zombie Batman. God bless you. But now, chicken, with all that having been shot, what is the topic du jour this evening?
Well, that's what I was trying to get into. Do we want to do the cardboard cutout real quick? And for those that don't know, we did the Tony G. We raised money to put the cardboard cutout. We're going to drop it in a random gas station. I also, as I was kind of browsing through websites on like where to go for this, I did have a secondary idea for Fillmore County Sheriff election, and maybe making some Phil KOE for sheriff signs to go put in people's yards.
No, that particular election has enough twists and turns to that story.
Or we could do Tony G doing Tony G for sheriff. It'd be great.
No, well, I don't
want
it in my time.
I don't want this to get in the way of my run for president. Okay,
gotcha.
My campaign is hard at work getting my name on the ballots of all the swing states to make sure that in 2024, you, the people at home, can do the right thing and vote extreme, folks. Because everybody bitches about it, but Phil KOE gonna do something about it. So yes, and while I cut my promo about how awesome I'm gonna be as president, I'm waiting for these two gentlemen to get ready to pull up the amazingness that's going to be.
Tony, send me the picture that we're gonna use on here. I'm getting this all set up here. So we're gonna order this off cardboardcutouts.com. Let's see. Ooh, it's on sale. $10 off today. We've been
promising this for like 4 months.
Yep.
So we're gonna do the max size. We're doing the 6 foot, so 72 inches by 40 inches.
So it's moving at Rye tournament speeds.
Do we want digital proofs for an extra $10 or a custom message on the back or touch up for?
I don't know if we need anything on the back.
I don't know if we need much of anything at all. You can just upload what you can have everything on the upload, right?
Let's see. Yeah, I think everything we need is on the picture.
All right, send her over.
It is in the Dog and Chicken Show chat. There you go.
All right, let me get that downloaded real quick. And we're going to finally get this goddamn thing done.
Yeah, we got to do this because we've been teasing you bitches for months, and it's just gotta
perfect.
happen. Tony's
Perfect.
ass on
I
the
love
You
it.
know what? Actually, that would be perfect.
Jesus.
Steve Rogers, Captain America, looks at my ass and goes, "You know what? Maybe that's America's ass."
All right, let's go upload. Downloads. There's Tony's Bush Light. Did it not like
or
it?
as the mammoth calls it, Bush Latte. It saw what it was, and we're like, no, fuck you, we're not doing that.
No, Bush Light literally called their Bush Light Bush Latte for a while. It was amazing.
No, I'm talking about your cardboard cutout. They see Tony just like, and they're like, no, we're no.
Chicken turned into Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, anytime somebody likes the show, I turn into Bernie.
I'm not playing anymore.
I'm not playing it. Dude, why want to do this?
Wait, somebody liked the show, so Phil turns into Bernie real quick. Do it.
No, it's only on my virtual cam. Sorry. Dude.
Are we already having technical difficulties?
Yeah, it's being a bitch.
Well, while you guys figure that out, just keep in mind that in 2024, Phil KOE will become your president. They're coming out with it again. Hey, Jake, how we doing there? But yes, folks, KOE Nation is the place to be to check in on the campaign of extreme through 2024. KOE Nation on YouTube, KOE Nation on Twitch, KOE Nation on TikTok. That's K as in King. O as in, oh my God, you can find KOE Nation on YouTube,
resolution.
Twitch, and TikTok. Okay. E as in extremely happy to know you can find KOE Nation on YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok. And now, folks, we're going to get back. Return to our story. Our heroes were in the middle of getting a cardboard cutout. We'll check in on their progress.
All right, we know what the problem is now. It's too low quality of an image. So I bet when you put it on that filter, well, no, when you put it on that filter app, they always do that. They drop down the pixel. Because if they're gonna blow this thing up into a 6-foot thing, it's gonna be pixelated as fuck if you don't have it very, very detailed and high quality. So
let me adjust.
Yes, I resemble that remark, Tiberius, and also because he's just good shit. Tiberius D on YouTube, on Twitch, he's even on Twitter. So the one space that I dare not tread because I'm a happy, well-adjusted human being. So I don't spend time on Twitter.
Was Jake in here kissing your ass already? Wow. All right.
Well, I mean, as everyone should. I mean, Jake is just making the proper calculation of I'm just going to go ahead and replace my politics with Phil KOE's politics, and it's probably the safest route. I mean, it really is, Jake. It really is.
Right.
So God bless you. You're making the right step. You're making the first step towards extremeness.
Yes.
All
right. Well, let's get through the first story at least while we're working on this image. All right.
Yep. Oh yes, and
so this is kind of
check him out on Patreon.
This is kind of a funny.
Tiberius_D.
All right. This is kind of a funny out of nowhere story that I just randomly stumbled upon, which I feel got the reaction of like, holy shit, is this going to be a thing now? Anybody heard of the rapper Gunu? Maybe I'm pronouncing that right. Maybe.
Oh,
probably.
dude, I've been to at least 6 shows. I've got all of his LPs, original EPs, like 3 posters on my wall. No, what the fuck is a Gunu? I didn't even know what that was.
Well, his actual name is Markel Morrow, which is actually a cooler name than Gunu. I don't.
Well, Gunu sounds like a Ben and Jerry's flavor.
Yeah, it
I was
does.
about to say I would have gone under his real name. That actually would have, like, I'm sorry, that's just a lot more exotic name.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, well,
disturbing video shows rapper Gunu's embalmed body propped up on stage at a DC nightclub. Mourners party alongside his corpse weeks after he was shot dead. Marco Morrow, 24, who performed as Gunu, was shot on March 18th. Rapper's funeral took place on Sunday at Bliss nightclub in DC, where what appeared to be his embalmed body was propped up on stage. Videos and photos taken during the event gone viral, sparking outrage among some fans. Bliss management sought to distance itself from the controversy, stating that the club was never made aware of what would transpire. Well, of course, they didn't say, hey, I'm going to go hang a dead guy on the wall and we're going to party.
Unfortunately, the reality is there was at least one higher up that absolutely did know what was going to go down.
Oh, there's somebody that's like,
far.
Oh my God, the press we're going to get from this.
My biggest concern is, like you said, is this going to become a normal thing? Is this going to be like a thing that like you start to see people do more and more? And that I don't really want to see, because it's a dead body, folks. It needs to be properly handled. That like, so yeah, but my big fear is that this is going to be something that you see more and more of, where people do weird things with the embalmed body of their loved one so they can have one last whatever. And I'm just like, fuck.
Remember the comedian Nick Swardson? I think that's what his name was. The guy that was on Reno 911 as the gay rollerblader guy.
Yep.
Yeah, he had a whole stand-up bit of kind of like this. He was like, well, at my funeral, I'm going to do a couple things, and he wanted to be like wired up and just have
I remember that
music come playing. He's like, I'll drop from the ceiling and be like, and then he wanted John Stamos to be there and start crying. He would just pay John Stamos to cry, and then people would look and be like, did he fucking know John Stamos? Why is John Stamos crying? Like, I feel like that's kind of what this reminded me of.
I feel like I've seen TV shows like about. I remember watching an episode of Bones one time where this happened, but it was a metal band. Like, I didn't think rappers were this like metal, but hey, what do you know? It's 2022, folks.
Let's see here. Here's an image. This is his body at the nightclub. They put a crown on him and all.
All right, that's creepy as shit.
Well, it's just like, fuck. This is going to become a thing now, isn't it? Like, God, thank God Tupac didn't die in this fucking era. Okay, like, Jesus.
Yeah, all we get are holograms of him.
Yeah, like, thank the fucking Lord that this didn't fucking hit while the fucking greats were going down. Okay,
feels like thank God Tupac died in the 90s.
Well, I mean, fuck. If this was gonna be what happens, like, like, at least at least the greats got to fucking get buried with fucking dignity.
I got some problems here.
Terrible.
This picture, you see pyro in the background, right? So obviously, whoever works at this place, they have to have safety crews. I'm not an expert on running a nightclub by any means, but I am pretty sure that the owners for the fire code have to like go over safety procedures of where like props are being placed to ensure there's nothing on fire. So like, what did they say that they were going to place on this? Like, looks like he's hooked up to some post or something. Like, you can see up here, there's like something like some kind of metal arm hooked up to a post that's attached to him to keep him standing upright like this. Like this, I don't know what's going on. He's all draped with a curtain, but then you got pyro going on over here. Like, somebody had to have been like, well, everything's got to be X amount of feet away to make sure you don't start a fire. Be like, well, we're going to put this object over here. What's the object? Don't worry about it. It's far enough away.
Details. It's a mannequin. Boy, that's an awful heavy mannequin.
It's a man.
Yeah. Was a man.
Well, it's still a man. He's just a dead man.
It's a dead man. It's not the Undertaker. But
dead man, rolling.
What? You get a little. Say never.
You get a little video clip of.
Now, what I also
it looks like a great show.
Yeah, well, it looked like it was a damn good time.
Yeah, everybody was just fucking partying like this was a normal thing. Like,
brought me up beside the jukebox.
I guess you're right. This guy had the hip hop equivalent of prop me up by the.
Oh, that's fucking great.
Sparklers and LSD, putting that music all over me.
He killed it.
Well done.
That's great. This is so messed up. Thank you.
That's
no, it was a goon woman. What the fuck?
What?
The name actually, of the rapper's like.
I think with the spelling that he used, that actually does work.
God.
Goon woman?
Goonu. Wait, no.
It wouldn't matter how you spell it. It's not going to be, It
sounds like Grogu, which, come on, don't deface Baby Yoda like that.
Yeah, damn it. So, yeah. when you die, fellas,
This is
what's
the
the craziest thing you'll want anybody to do with your body after you die? Like some people think, cremation sounds crazy as shit. So
No,
each his
I
own,
think
I
I want to.
guess.
I want to be cremated because it sounds horrible. Like if you let my body or my skeleton just rot in the ground, eventually some bulldozers are going to run through and I'm going to be used for something I probably wouldn't consent to. And that's saying something because I would consent to a lot. So yeah, just burn my ass, call it good.
You would like what all would you consent to?
Chicken, what do you think?
Okay, never mind. We'll move on. Go ahead, Phil.
We're gonna get kicked if I start rattling that list off.
If they are going to reuse my body to be a fully animatronic, partly biological cyber mech, then yes. Like if they're going to use me as a battle mech, shoot them into the sun. I was about to say maybe mix my ashes with some gunpowder and then reload some bullets and then go on a couple hunts I wasn't able to go to in life. That would probably
commies.
or just whatever.
I'm gonna have to put on some weight
into the sun,
so that way they can like spread me around in different places.
There you go. Well, at first it sounded like Phil wanted to become RoboCop.
Yeah, I mean, like if they can like totally like use my I am the law, mixing Judge Dredd and RoboCop, but yes,
and be like, find me at KOE Nation on YouTube and Twitch.
There's just a little screen here that's always streaming my old videos. Do you subscribe? Yes. You live another day.
Turtles with the.
Thumbs up, smash. Like just
he'll grab a gin bottle. He'll short circuit for real.
No, that'll be like my eternal hell. Is that what fuels the robot is gin? And so that'll be like the punishment that goes with the new powers. And so it's like, yeah, come on now. You guys have read enough comic books.
Phil basically wants to be the first head in a jar, like on Futurama. That's really what Phil wants.
That would be pretty cool to be the first
Jake
one.
says he wants a hunter's funeral, but that reminded me last year, and I know Brendan talked about it on Dad's Worldwide. Check out that podcast as well. You remember talking about the Viking funeral? Mm-hmm. That was legal in a few states now, like in Maine, I think, where they just float you out on a canoe and out into
set you on fire. Hell yeah,
lake, and they just fire flaming arrows at it, and you just burn up on the lake. That sounds amazing.
Well, what about the Jedi funeral where you're just put on top of a large hill and the same thing?
Like, I don't want to murder younglings or like have to turn to the dark side first, though.
Well, I mean, still Jedi funeral's Jedi funeral. I mean, that's
fair.
Kevin, plenty of beautiful women have, but jealousy's an ugly thing, Kevin.
I think the Viking thing would be good, or like Tiberius said, shooting into the sun. I don't know if anybody wanted to have like one fucking last fucking fun day with me, climb up to the top of a fucking volcano and throw me in. Have fun getting there, but you might die on the way.
And somebody ride me down like Mount Kilimanjaro, like as a bobsled. That sounds fun.
It's like a Jamaican bobsled man.
Before I kick it, I do need to be at least like molded and sculpted so that the Tony G sex robot can become a thing. That way I can live on even in the afterlife. Hopefully they can download my conscious. It'll be beautiful.
I'm going to ask Elon to just shoot me up into space in a Tesla. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that's true. At this rate.
That'd be super tits.
Yeah.
Yes, Kevin, I know my audio's slightly off. I'm using a virtual cam for the goddamn stars.
Honestly,
tonight, so.
More than being shot into the sun, like I don't know why, just for me personally, if like my body could be like jettisoned into the great red spot of Jupiter, that would be my own personal, because that's just one of those things, one of those places in our solar system that has infinitely fascinated me for most of my life.
I don't know if that would be amazing, because you're going to get there and be reincarnated just because of the wacky space magic that's going on, and then you're going to have to live in that hell.
Okay, so you're thinking 2001 Space Odyssey shit's going to go down?
I'm just saying. The unknown is the unknown for a reason.
And then I'm
How
reincarnated
badly do you want to reanimate in space?
Well, now, Tony, there's just one plot hole there, is that in 2001 Space Odyssey, the person was reincarnated as the most intelligent creature in the universe, and that's impossible because I'm already there. So, huge plot line, huge plot hole. So, sorry, just can't I can't suspend my disbelief there.
But okay, but whatever. Do you remember when we were talking about the damn monoliths? Whatever came of that shit?
I'm like perma Biden right now. This is
Nice.
I'm not liking this.
Yeah,
This is
like,
not
I'm
sniffing
loving
me,
it.
but
Tiberius, if you're still in the audience at the moment, like this sounds like a sci-fi, like because you're also a fellow sci-fi nerd. So whatever did happen to the monoliths? I
can
forget what
float
happened to that one.
and float and float till I run into a planet, comet, black hole, or whatever is out there.
It'll probably be Jupiter. It's got such a big jet gravity well. It's just 90% of all the comets that come into our solar system get sucked into Jupiter.
You know what? Fuck it. Just roll me off the side of flat Earth, all right, guys? Then I'll just fall forever.
Forever.
There is no space. Space is fake.
The greatest base jump ever.
Hashtag space is fake.
Space is fake. It's
Like the Neil deGrasse Tysons of the world are just like,
yeah, they look like they took a shot of gin.
Which really, if you want to break it down, I've always said, like, because the first thing that you guys ever had me on the show for was for flat Earth stuff. And to me, I've always thought flat Earth is the funniest way to troll the Neil deGrasse Tysons, the Bill Nyes, the Mauricio Kakus of the world. Because it's a way to troll really smart people. Because they're like, how can you just and it's just the funniest thing to watch their reaction.
Hey Tyler, how do you know?
Yeah. Exactly.
Have you rolled it around?
I do on Earth Day this year, folks. I do want to have a live show on Earth Day. I think it's towards the end of the week. It's a Thursday or Friday. We're going to do a flat Earth Day show, and it's going to be amazing. I can't wait. If we can find a flat earther to come on the show.
Flat Earth Day is on a Friday, isn't it?
Now,
yes,
Earth
please
Day?
come on.
I think it is on a Friday, actually.
We would love.
I will tune in from my campsite just for that.
Well, you know what? Your campsite will be on flat Earth.
I know. I'll show you the flat Earth from my campsite.
Tell you what, flat earthers, I'm going to extend you the best offer you've ever gotten. You can come on to the Dog and Chicken Show. We will give you a 5-minute uninterrupted opening statement of your flat Earth position. And then we will start getting into the refutation. So,
am I supposed to be the pro flat Earth guy this year still, or?
No, no. You don't have to take it.
Chicken, I was about to say.
It's more fun. It's more fun if I can prove people wrong.
Yeah, well, that's the whole
even
point
if I don't
flat
believe
Earther,
it.
But
that's
you
fun.
don't want to be like Chicken. 20 years from now, you don't want people to say, "Yeah, then there's Chicken, the fucking flat Earth guy."
I'll be the hero of the flat Earth community, and I never believed it.
Yeah, this guy sounded smart, and then he started
never believed
about
God
flat Earth like a fucking moron.
No, I was just making shit up, and they all fucking believed me.
Oh, but then what would be even worse is like Chicken keeps digging and digging and digging, and then he finds the X file that actually, oh my God, the Earth is flat, guys. The Earth is Chicken. Okay, you've taken this a little far. The American
Son
ones
of a bitch. Oh wow. The American ones were claimed to be art pieces by a catchy art group. What else did we have on there?
Oh, okay. He's talking about the monoliths. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, the American ones were claimed to be pieces. Okay, that makes sense. So that's what they did with the monoliths. And then those weird artsy fartsy people kept getting smarter because they were standing next to the monolith. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. So the mystery is solved on that. So
we went from how what do you want your body to
unlock the mystery of them?
We went from after you die, what do you want to happen with your body to flat Earth?
Yeah. Hey, that's a pretty typical Dog and Chicken Show, Chicken. Why are you even acting like that's unusual? But yes, I throw out that full challenge to any flat earther. We'll give you a 5-minute opening statement.
Or non-flat earther.
I'm really more interested.
I will take on any flat earther or non-flat earther. I'll do it.
Samantha, I do not. That is not the case.
I think he does, and you get a 100-star discount too because I overpaid earlier.
Chicken,
so.
Well, in that case, it's only 900 stars. That's true.
Well,
I'm not thirsty at
all.
Plus
the discount, so 800.
In fact, I'm probably a little gin logged, but I don't have to worry about it because nobody's going to drop 900 stars.
Well, no, because it was 20. It was Tony. It was 20% off, right?
For the first few minutes.
Oh, I didn't
Now
know
the
there was
full-
a time limit on
Full
here.
pro. He said it himself. He
time
said-
limit, schmime limit.
Yeah, I was gonna say that means it's 800 plus my extra 100 in there, so it's only 700 for a second shot.
700. That's a bargain.
It is. It
That
is.
is a
You
bargain.
guys are whores. Become the Borg or a Spartan. Like,
Spartan.
now, me, I'm part Greek.
Because
my
this
grandmother was half.
is Borg does not have.
Well, are we talking about actual Spartans, or are we talking more like Halo Spartans?
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
Okay.
Well, me, I'm Greek, so I'm going full old school Leonidas.
Okay, he said
style.
Halo Spartans. Okay.
Okay, Borg
Halo.
or Spartan. Yeah, you kind
Halo.
of got like, who the fuck wants to be part of the Borg collective? All your individuality stamped out. But you got to give Star Trek credit. The Borg is probably one of the best written. Like, the Borg as a villain is way better written than the show deserved. Okay, like that. Like, that's just one thing that I always like.
I've Will Smith Tony. I think Tony Will Smith me.
We did. Yeah, we were doing it back and forth because I actually don't know.
It was we were high schoolers and we were drunk.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, there's
Probably,
that.
yeah.
But
Yeah, there's that. Yeah.
no zombie Batman. No person's
powder because we ain't
ever-
no bitch.
Nobody's ever done that to any of us ever because we're just the old, like, yeah, that cringy shit that you always see online. People like,
No.
I'm the ultra alpha. Nobody will even fucking touch me. And it's like that meme I sent you guys about the difference between somebody who's been trained how to fight and somebody who has no idea what the fuck they're talking about when they're going to get into a fight. And they'll say shit like, bro, you don't understand my mentality. When I see red bodies hit the floor, like, oh, you're going to be a sandbag that I can fucking put on the ground in 30 seconds. Like, yeah, that's not even a problem. Like, your dick's going to hit the dirt after I hit you once. But all right, we got some other comments here.
What else we got here? The Borg Federation and Dominion are S tier.
The Dominion, it was a good story arc, but they got bitch slapped around eventually and became just another Federation lackey. The Borg, on the other hand, has been a consistent villain that just cannot be reasoned with. And that's what makes them work as a villain, is you cannot reason with the Borg because it's got a programming that you can't change. And so that's why I think it's, as a villain, Borg is truly S-class above all. I'd put Federation A-class. Dominion, I'd probably even put B-class, honestly.
All right. With no more comments on there, let's jump to our next one. It sounds really good. I'm just gonna say it. House passes marijuana decriminalization bill again. This is the first time.
Then come I will
Voyager,
say,
yeah, that's where the first woman captain gets
Janeway.
lost. The woman gets lost. Great story.
well, I mean, chicken, when you put it like that, sure, it sounds bad. Jesus. But now I will say, this happening, it is a positive development. The problem is, like you said, they've done it again, despite the fact that Congress voted to prevent recreational marijuana from becoming legalized in the District of Columbia not too terribly long ago.
Yeah.
We're supposed to believe that this one's going to have all the happiness, shininess. So it's one of those, okay, I'm happy to hear it, but I will believe it when it actually hits Biden's desk, which even then I'm going to have a hard time believing it.
I think the notable thing is that second paragraph right there.
Yeah, you want me to read through here? There's some good quotes in here. I love this.
The second paragraph's the one I'm excited about.
Well, we'll get there. Let me just read through. The House Representatives approved a bill Friday to decriminalize marijuana. Through the measure stands a little chance to becoming law this year. The House bill passed by a vote of 220 to 204, with 3 Republicans in favor and 2 Democrats against. Republicans said they voted no because the legislation lacked additional funding for local police forces. Some opposed it on similar grounds that drugs are bad. Seriously, is that what it said? Okay. Let's make sure I read that right.
Because they're bad.
The last thing we need, in quotations, the last thing we need is more addictive behavior altering drugs in this country. End quote by Rep Bob Good, Republican for Virginia, told Huffington Post.
Bob, that's good shit, man.
Every major urban area has increased crime, and Democrats are legalizing drugs and propping up the marijuana industry, Jim Jordan of Ohio said on the House floor. Oh, my God. This hurts my brain.
Give me my smoke, you Republican dickholes. And even if it hits his desk, he'll just fall asleep on it.
True.
Can we just make fun of these fucking guys before we jump onto the Democrats? Because fucking Bob Good. Fuck you, Bob. The last thing we need is more addictive behavior altering drugs in this country.
Dude, 2022.
They're doing it anyway.
I was about to say, Bob.
Exactly.
Bob, I'm just going to say this. Bob Good. In terms of addictive behaviors, everyone is addicted to something in our modern world. I tell you what, Bob. I'll fucking believe you and your bullshit if you can manage to not pick up and look at one of these for 3 fucking hours. Then I'll believe you that, we shouldn't be encouraging addiction. Everything's addictive. There's addictions everywhere you look. Maybe 30, 40 years ago, you had a chance, but not anymore. The fucking world is trying as hard as it can to think of every ad you see. I'm totally addicted to this game. That's where we're at.
Caffeine's probably more harmful than most goddamn things. You can go through the laundry list of addictive substances that alter your mind every single goddamn day that we never fucking think of. Yeah, alcohol. I guarantee Bob Good drinks scotch.
Jake hits it right here. Big pharma. Jesus Christ. It's 2022. When did the war on drugs start? And when did the fucking eradication and the okay, there you go. So, and when did the smear campaign of marijuana begin? What year was that, Phil?
It was actually when the movie Reefer Madness was published, an old black and white movie.
39.
I want to say it was between the world wars. I want to say because we've
watched that on here before. That shit's funny.
It's a very fascinating thing when you get into it. The cultural differences and why marijuana was so stigmatized at the turn of the last century. Because you also got to remember, there's money was one thing. But also there was also nationalism and fear of the other also played into you guys remember watching the movie Tombstone when Wyatt Earp gets off and he meets that guy wearing that really nice Tony hat.
Zombie Batman. Yes. Weed? You're here for weed? Have you ever sucked dick for crack?
No, but you're a former mayor of Canada or whatever the fuck did.
But continuing on, when Wyatt Earp gets off the train, he meets this one guy that kind of runs the town. He's like, I'm the mayor of this town, I'm the sheriff, and I'm also the head of the nonpartisan anti-Chinese league. And that was unfortunately, that was a real thing in the turn of the last century. And it was seen as here in the West, we've drank our drugs, okay? We've typically drank our drugs and alcohol. Smoking your drugs was seen as something that was foreign and different and something that the other did. And so that was something that also helped stigmatize marijuana on top of William Randolph Hearst and Hearst Paper Manufacturing not wanting to basically be out a lot of money from their significant lumber
William
holdings.
Randolph Hearst, that guy was a fucking creep.
Prick.
So
it just amazes me that in 2022 we are still able to stigmatize a natural growing plant as such an evil and hallucinogenic fucking awful mind-altering drug, yet we're still pushing hardcore pill-popping prescriptions left and right over the counter shit that will fuck you up, get you addicted hardcore. And it's all legal, folks, but we're still going to stigmatize a goddamn.
Tony, our black supremacist friend, posted on Facebook today that
I wouldn't know. I've been blocked.
Yeah, you got blocked.
I was about to say, if he's blocked you, is he really?
I know. I'm just informing you. I'm just informing you.
He's just a black supremacist that you happen to know.
Our favorite black supremacist posted an article. I can't remember. I think it was Wall Street Journal article that said smoking marijuana while pregnant is not a good thing. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Like, do we need a Wall Street Journal article fucking posted on Facebook to let us know that doing drugs of any kind while you're pregnant is bad?
And yes, Zombie Batman, props to Phil powering through the dick crack joke like a champ. Yeah, like being on a show with these two guys for as long as I have, you have to just power through whatever thought you're having because they will like.
Phil's a good power bottom.
I'm the best power bottom. Let me tell you something.
No, but my point is like
from the bottom.
Whether you're lefty or you're righty, the people that really don't understand it or even really thought through this whole goddamn drug thing, they always just like scare tactic the shit out of it. Like pregnant women, they're gonna kill all the babies. Like, well, okay, well you're lefty and you're okay with abortion, so like shut up. Like, and then it's like, and then you get to these far righties that are like, oh no, it's gonna be mind altering, and be like, meanwhile you sit there drinking scotch. It's like shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like.
Well, yeah, I remember one time our high school biology teacher, he was like, now think about this, students. If we legalize marijuana, do you want your surgeon smoking marijuana before doing surgery on you? And I'm like, what kind of fucking surgeon's going out and getting blazed right before surgery? Like, who's like, yeah, I don't want him drinking scotch. I don't even want him smoking a cigar right before he's going.
If I had to choose,
if you had the choice, I would say let him have.
If I had
to choose between like 5 or 6 glasses of fucking bourbon or a joint, I'm gonna pick the joint because he's gonna be way more relaxed and way more steady of a hand.
Yeah, so, do you want him to take his prescription Adderall or smoke a joint?
Yeah, like you said, they always try to go to these extreme examples, but it has no bearing on just a plain old regular adult wanting to do what they wish with their own body. Yeah. And if
like, if it's gender realignment surgery, I'm walking in and just be like, "Fuck me up, fam."
Well, what I'm saying is, like, we've got people that believe that they can lord over your very state of mind, what you can put into your body, how you treat your own mood, and what so to me that's one of the most fundamental tyrannies is trying to control your very state of mind from moment to moment.
I don't know if you guys saw that ad that was on here. It was deodorant for your pits and your butthole. It literally said I put it in my butt too. Hopefully it pops back up.
I've been looking for a new butthole deodorant.
Okay. Hopefully it pops back up. I want to read the next one. We've been spending way too much time on that
Things I never knew.
Every major urban area has increased crime and Democrats are legalizing drugs and propping up the marijuana industry. From Jim Jordan.
Shouldn't have introduced crack into the inner city areas.
Normally,
that was the CIA, not the Republicans. Get it right.
Yes, that was the CIA.
Same thing.
I like Jim Jordan.
According to Trump, no.
Now.
Normally, I like Jim Jordan's. No, you're fine. You guys are fine. I'm trying to hold on to the fucking one thought I have here, and you guys just keep entering. I'm like, God damn,
you're just not as good at pushing through as Phil KOE.
So anyway, Rep Jim Jordan. I like a lot of his takes. Most of the time, the guy has good shit to say. But this is where I fucking lose it with the fucking the retard Republicans, because it's all Democrats are making crime bad, and they go to, like Phil was just talking about, you go to these extremes to where you lose the middle of the country, you lose everybody else. If you just said, if he's really against it, maybe he would actually have like a good stance. But legalizing drugs, propping up the marijuana industry, and so the only thing he's actually got on here that most people would disagree with are increased crime. Okay, talk about the increased crime. He does it. He goes, urban area has increased crime, because that's a talking point this year. So it's just a dipshit Republican talking point right now. And then now they're legalizing drugs and propping up marijuana industry. And so all you do is you get the people that have these retard righty thoughts that can't think past that fucking talking point. You lost everybody else. It's over. It's fucking over now. This is the dumbest thing that most Republicans fucking bring up. This is not the way to win this argument. If you are actually worried about drugs and increased crime, bring up that. Like, just leave it at that. Fucking Christ. Like, why do we have to like do these stupid fucking buzzword talking points all the goddamn time that just everybody shuts it off? And then well, Rep Jim Jordan, he had too many hit pieces, so he got kind of shut down. So they're not going to listen to him anyway. But
Check your PMs, boys.
checking to PMs right now. But you get what I'm saying? Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, no, it's the standard line of thinking that's just completely and utterly outdated at this point. That's what I mean. In 2022, we're still using the same talking points. Like, specifically, yes, like the votes, you can see it. It's just been ingrained.
His 2
in
points
that line
after
of
the first
thinking.
one have nothing to do with the first one, though. He didn't tie them together.
Right? No, you're right.
He's just
you're right.
piling on shit he doesn't like, and it means nothing. It means nothing unless you can actually like connect them. If there is a connection, I want to hear about it. I'd be interested in that. But when you just say, I don't like drugs because of criminals, and then a lot of criminals are also sexual abusers, and I don't like when people touch kids, and he's just naming bad things at this point.
Yeah, it's just buzzwords. It's buzzwords and talking points that have no actual data.
And you know what pisses me off about Jim Jordan? Jim Jordan's smarter than that. I think that's why it pisses me off, because Jim Jordan is smarter than that. Jim Jordan can actually put together a coherent argument most of the goddamn time. This is lazy bullshit.
It does feel very much like crutch stigmas that we've heard 1,000 times over for decades and decades and decades, because there's nothing new here. It's just the same thing. It's on repeat. It's just we're playing the best hits. It's like Foreigner going to a state fair. Hey, you like those songs? Because we're going to play them again. We might even play them twice, folks.
Yep. Here we go. We got Rep. Jamie Raskin mocked Republicans for harboring outdated views on marijuana. This is probably actually true. It's like they saw Reefer Madness in middle school and never got over it. And the bizarre allegation by Rep. Madison Cawthorn, Republican of North Carolina, that Republican leaders invited him to orgies. Dude, that's a whole other show.
Orgies? I'm in.
Did you guys hear about this fucking story? That's a whole nother show.
Now, gentlemen, I must interrupt you folks because
you're fine.
We have an introduction here, folks. We have a new person, first ever appearance on Big Buckin' Empire, the Dog and Chicken Show. He is coming here all the way from the Mask Off podcast. Folks, he is the one, the only, all the way from Indiana and by way of Illinois, the one, the only, Tiberius motherfucking D. How we doing there, sir?
Doing all right. It's good to see you. How you doing?
Welcome, sir.
Welcome to the show.
So, pleasure to meet everybody. Of course, Phil's been on my show a few times, so always gracious to return the favor. He talks you guys up a lot. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me on the Big Buckin' Empire. I do appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Absolutely.
Welcome.
Thank you.
If you're here, obviously there's some thought there's some impetus of thought that's brought you here, something that's boiling under the surface that you need to get off your chest.
Oh, sure. So, I can probably do intros later because I'm sure somebody wants to know at least like a little bit about me or credentials or some shit. But getting into the details of what I was thinking with this is that two things. Number one is that the Democrats and the Republican Party are changing. I've talked about this for a better part of the last 2 to 3 years. In that, you guys probably have noticed that what used to be Republican isn't Republican anymore. Mm-hmm. And you can also say the same to Democrats. My dad is like, oh, I'm still technically a registered Democrat. And I'm like, you wouldn't have voted Democrat for the last 3 elections, you know? And he's just like, well, yeah, just the Republicans are now more for working class people than the Democrats are, which I'm not going to get into whether that's actually true or not, but that is the perception that is absolutely out there, or is that it's weird that Republicans are now have gone from kind of being the big corporate party to being more for like rural, we'd call them Republican, but rural working class folks, or at least they're trying, and we can get into that. But also like the Democrats also inverted. They used to be the party that of FDR that was literally founded and built on by unions. And now you've got unions, and we can openly prove this. Unions are now splitting their vote 50-50. And if you're looking at actual trades unions, they're knocking it out of the park for Republicans, going 70 points or, 70% for them. So, yeah, the game has changed.
Now, I got to say, I'm going to agree with you a little bit here because on the Democrat side, they used to it's kind of this odd juxtaposition of I represent the working man, even though I'm fucking loaded and I have a perfect tan. It's like, well, wait a minute, what the fuck? And so, yeah, like whether you agree with it or not, the branding now is that Republicans are the party of the people now, the party of the little guy. But now I really wonder.
Well, when you got characters like Nancy Pelosi, it's hard to
well,
not.
I was going to bring up AOC. Like this is masterful.
Yeah.
It's actually masterful what's been going on because between the squad and Republicans, this is. I'm glad you brought this up because I've been thinking about this for a couple of weeks or longer now. But like when they do this whole like cancel student debt thing, like the Republicans have fucking owned this so goddamn well. The ones that are actually fighting back on it because they're like, well, okay, cancel student debt. You realize that really only benefits rich white kids. Like that's not helping anybody but rich white kids. Like what are you trying to do? Like honestly,
they're trying to appeal to their voter base. Well,
you're buying votes.
Well, that's it's not even. Well, that's that's actually not just it. Like politics, that's literally, and democracy is. I'm going to be a little jaded here. It's blatant bribery, and what it is that you go to Washington and you're like, hey, look, I'm going to do something for you, right? That is the purpose of having a political system in a nutshell. Now we can talk about being libertarian and why you would not want to reduce that at some other point, but in a general sense, is that a political system. Is there to, as long as it's not a dictatorship, to basically wedge one group of interests against another. And then whoever ends up kind of winning the election gets what they want and they try to pass what they want through. When it comes to the Democrats, while they tried to maintain this like more working class kind of perception, and like AOC is one of the big poster childs because, she was 27, bartender, all this stuff. Now she's a congresswoman. You've got a few more stories like that. Remind you that almost every single one of these folks is a college graduate with a bachelor's or more. And on top of that, if you want to get into it, is that their voter base. The single biggest unifier for the Democratic Party isn't black, it isn't white, it isn't race, it isn't wealth. It's do you have a college degree?
Mm-hmm.
And that is what the Democrats have figured that out. Is that the future of that party, at least what they're diving into, is that it is going to be the not necessarily white collar party, but it's going to be far more if you have a college education / liberal indoctrination, which is not even liberal
Absolutely,
anymore.
because they are grooming these people when they actually get on campus to think like them.
How dare you call them groomers?
Well, there's a level where
I chose my word poorly.
We'll get to that in another story.
Yeah, like there's a level where I would love to talk about that because I've got shots to fire.
We're getting there tonight.
All right, cool. But anyway, when it does come out, the parties are changing, and that's fine. That's needed. The old Republican Party was not something I really cared for. The old Democratic Party was inept. So I'm really kind of glad to see that it's moving. The question is, what is it going to move into? And that's where we still have options.
And how do you think that plays into the marijuana bill that just got passed in the House?
That's the weird part. Okay, so the guy that you're talking about, I can't remember his name, but I've heard a few people talk about him.
I think.
It was either that or Jim Jordan.
I think it's Jim Jordan.
Okay.
He was the Ohio wrestling coach turned representative or senator or something. Yeah.
Okay, so there's one of there's one really
Ernie Hastert. Or Denny Hastert, his coach, the disgraced former congressman.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Anyway,
I'm sorry. Go
no,
ahead.
Cool. There's one of them that has been incredibly vocal, and everyone's like, "Why are you doing this? You can't even make good rhetoric." And the only thing that I've been told that actually justifies what he's doing, it's not that he's actually a traditional old school type of conservative that just hates marijuana. It's that he's an active lobbyist for private prisons.
Jake 700. We're at 700.
God damn it. Yes, 700 stars, and I will take another shot at Jen, you rotten no good bastards. Tony, that doesn't count. You can't just type 700 and say it's
but 700.
That is an angle that a lot of people don't consider in their analysis is our massively profitable prison industrial complex that we have in this country and how it's so tied in with our political elites. There was a friend of mine from high school that went on a bad path, and shortly after high school, he went to prison for a good long while. And when he got out, we talked for a while and like, tell me about your experience. I wanted to hear about. And he told me that everybody there talked about they're going to Poppy Bush's commissary because the prison he was in was owned by Bush Senior, and whenever you fucking like bought shoelaces or gummy bears or shit, like they worked out the percentage. It was a very high percentage of every dollar went directly to fucking Poppy Bush. And so I was like, okay, this is not good when the people who make our decisions are profiting off of the prisons.
Yeah.
All the most important things in the fucking world are
How many
based
people-
off of business, and it sucks because somebody's going to profit regardless. And if we do somehow manage to eradicate the evil behind the business that is taking advantage of the situation, something else will just slide right back into its place. It's almost unavoidable.
The prison industrial complex thing, I think that's actually a super important one because there's still, despite several movies, like Netflix made it a big deal. I've seen all kinds of mini documentaries, docuseries, and all kinds of different things, like try to understand it more. And there's still a lot like I don't understand and know totally about it. I get a lot of the bad shit, obviously. But man, when I talk to people, a lot of people don't understand it. And they don't connect it to the war on drugs. They don't connect it to politics. They don't connect it to policy and things that have happened over the last 20, 30 years. And it's frustrating that it doesn't make it down to all levels. Boom, there's the 700. Phil, take some gin.
Fuck.
So that part to me is the most frustrating because most of the time, the only time I hear about like the prison system and all these issues relating to each other is online in talks like this or on some political Twitch bullshit thing where they all just rabble the whole time.
Well, the weird conversation started really beginning when we were talking about releasing people when marijuana was going to become decriminalized. 2 years ago when we started talking about it again? I remember talking about it.
Yeah, when it got passed the first time. Yeah.
And we're like,
I think we should recriminalize
some of
gin.
these people. No. At what point do we start releasing some of these people? Because they're in there for literally a victimless crime, and it's ridiculous. But they're in there with people who've literally murdered other people, and there's no. Go ahead, Phil.
Phil's got to get his beef eater in.
How is it, Phil? Yeah, why don't you just take a double, Phil? That'd be great.
Yeah, double would be great.
Yeah, go for it, man.
Fuck! Okay.
Is the second one better?
Delicious! Yummy in my fucking tummy. Jesus. Okay. Continue, gentlemen. Fuck.
But yeah,
let's wrap this up. We got an hour to go, and I still got 3 more stories.
But when we talked about it the first time, you're right. We started talking about like at what point who's going to get grandfathered into this? Who's going to get released? And then we started talking about during COVID lockdown, releasing people to go home. It's so weird to think about who gets to stay in prison and who's deemed not worthy to be released when we were talking about lockdowns being more important than anything else in the world. It's who's making these decisions and who's allowing people out of the prison system based on not just what they did to get there in the first place, but how profitable it is for them to keep them there.
Phil from Zombie, go to a bar and pay to drink. Go live online and get paid to drink. Gotta love this world.
Hey,
isn't it great? I don't even have to drive to my bed. I can just walk upstairs.
I am a fucking capitalist first and foremost, folks. So yes, I will. I will put my own enjoyment second. So, but now, all right, chicken. I think we can all agree. Fuck yes, legalize weed, smoke blunts, smoke joints, smoke bongs. 2022 is the way everything. That would be right for me and you. But we'll see what happens, folks. Because this has been a war.
If you're Betty White, you get 99 fucking years. Make the best of your life and do whatever the fuck makes you happy.
Fucking fun. Hell yeah.
But now, all that being said, chicken. The next topic du jour this evening.
This one's gonna be a spicy one. That's why I was like, we got to move on to it because
we got Ty here now.
Yeah, Hunter Biden grand jury witness was asked, or was asked who is the big guy in Chinese deal. So obviously we know now the laptop is real. A witness who testified before Hunter Biden grand jury was asked to identify the big guy in the First Son's planned deal with the Chinese energy conglomerate as calls ramped up to have President Biden included in a conspiracy probe. The question arose after the witness was shown a piece of evidence while appearing in secret before the panel in Wilmington, Delaware. A source familiar with proceedings told the Post. A bombshell email exclusively reported by the Post in October 2020 that was not allowed to be shared on social media for quite some time. And I have a strike on YouTube and on Facebook because of that.
Biden bully.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, I'm a Biden bully through and through. Of equity in a company created by a joint venture with CEFC, China Energy Org. So anyway, so this is in front of a grand jury, and so the grand jury pretty much is being shown a lot of this footage and all the issues on there, and say, hey, do we have enough here to file charges or go after this? I don't know. It's Washington, or it's New York Post. They're speculating a little bit, and when you hear that question pop up of who is the big guy, of course, any New York Post reporter sitting there getting all giddy and their nipples get hard and they're like, oh, this is a great story. But honestly, yeah, you should be a little giddy about hearing that. So I think it's worth talking about.
Well,
what do you guys think?
If I may, just real quick, anytime corruption is brought to light, that's always a good thing. But Ty, I think this would be a perfect opportunity for you to give the people your own proper introduction and some of your credentials as to why they should listen to the great Tiberius D.
All right, fair enough. My name is Tiberius D. I studied in economics and political science, although I never actually finished out the degrees because college is kind of bad. But we'll talk about that at a later date. Anyway, when it comes down to it is that I am a wonderful person on Twitch and YouTube. On Twitch that I have over 2,100 followers. So apparently somebody thinks it's worth listening to me. I largely talk about geopolitics, domestic politics, and also a few things that kind of interest me. So like geeky stuff like Star Trek, Star Wars, 40K. If you're interested in any of that, definitely check me out. I've largely been talking about, with the geopolitics stuff, Ukraine in particular. And one of my most favorite videos for the review stuff is William T. Riker a good character? So there's plenty to digest within all that. Go check it out. I really appreciate it.
Love it. Good shit.
Here,
what are your thoughts on this story specifically?
Okay, so I'm going to ruffle everybody's feathers as I usually do when it comes to war, when it comes to corruption and people doing bad things in DC. Everybody's in on it, and it's not that it's not that anyone's the good guy. It's not that the Trumps are the good guys. It's not that the Bidens are the good guys. Everybody's in on it. What is different is two things. Number one is who made deals with who. Because more often than not, these more wealthy families, particularly the ones that are well connected, have been in the game for 40, 50 years or multiple generations, is that they will build separate connections because they have different power bases, right? So certain people will deal with the Russians, certain people will deal with the Chinese, some people deal with the Saudis, and then you've got a lot of domestic stuff in house too as well. So what I have been seeing for the last 6 years is that a lot of the dirty laundry has been tried. I want to put it this way. A lot of the dirty laundry that has been in backdoor politics, somebody is trying to leak out, whether it's part of politics or not, and the American people aren't digesting it because they really don't see the scope. We have seen, I don't want to hit this, but I'm going to hit it anyway. Whether it's Trump, Ukraine, Clintons, and the Saudis, whether it's anyone and the Russians, for all that matter, you keep getting little snippets here and there. Hey, this person was trying to do this or that. Now, part of it, media bullshit. Let's not be wrong here. It's drama, and the American people love drama. It sells newspapers. It sells Ford pickup trucks. Here's the reality. The reason why you haven't seen anybody get hanged or that you don't see anyone get ousted for a long time for blatant corruption is that if it hits the fan, it starts like a dark and dirty war, because you have some very powerful people that if you do pull the levers out from under them, people start turning up dead. We've seen this before. We've seen guns in the Senate. Right?
Oh, excuse me.
Anyway,
excuse me.
Long story short here, I'm amazed that we're at the point that we are, particularly in the fact that, quite honestly, if anything gets hit with the Biden family and Hunter, I guarantee the Trump family gets hit with them too. Because one of the biggest supporters, particularly the Clinton family, for a very long time, was the Trump family. So they all know their dirty laundry. So I'm actually amazed that we've gotten here to this point. But on the other side of that is that if, somebody's dirty laundry does truly well and get out, I think somebody's out for blood. And you're going to see literally, quote unquote, a witch hunt cleansing of a significant portion of the American leadership, which will be very interesting.
God bless it. But now I do got to say, Tiberius, you touched on something very interesting there when you're talking about Trump and Biden. And when Trump was exiting office and Biden was coming in, the lefties all wanted, oh God, we want Trump in cuffs and we want him in jail. And Biden knew, nope, we're not doing that, because if they put him in cuffs, then the other side's going to want to put me in cuffs. And this is just going to keep fucking going and going and going. And it is kind of a race to the bottom. But, at the same time, if we have a cleansing fire, I'll take it. Like, if we can just cleanse the bad actors. But, speaking of bad actors,
I was going to say, Biden has just joined the
you.
stream while you were talking.
Tiberius is more important than fucking Joe Biden. Are you kidding me? By like magnitude.
But as a gracious host, I would like Joe Biden to have a response to what
Chicken,
Tiberius
I'm
had
also
to say
being
there.
like Obama and blatantly and purposely ignoring Joe Biden.
Yeah. Come on, man.
Man, come on. Look. It's real simple, all right? All the things he's saying over here, they're not true. Look, just because I'm on vacation right now and that immortal witch, Nancy Pelosi's got the COVID, look, she's going to bounce back. It's not like we drove a wooden stake through her heart or anything. She'll be fine. She's going to bounce back. She's had like 20 boosters. Look, the girl, she's kicking. She's spry. She's like one of them Mexican fighting chickens, all right? With the talons and shit. You fix old Glory there, Phil KOE, or I'll come over there and I'll bust a flapjack in your ass. Now watch yourself. You don't deface the flag that I deface every day that I'm in office like that, all right? That's my job. That's my job. Don't you step on my toes, Phil KOE. Recognize. Look, just because the fucking laptop that everybody said wasn't real, that we paid good money for everybody to believe that wasn't real, just because it's real, that don't mean it's real. Like Trevor Noah said it best. Just because you were right when you were right doesn't mean you were actually right when you were right. Like, come on. We paid good money for that shit to not be true. And just because it's true now doesn't mean it was true then. Like, perspective is history and stuff like that. That's a fact.
Joe, can I give you some advice? Don't give Hunter another laptop for Christmas.
Look, he already gave you free crack pipes, allegedly. All right, look, he's the giving guy here, not me. I'm giving out free Apple tablets. That's the next thing. That'll be in the next stimulus package with the I don't know, the medical marijuana that we're going to be giving away to only the white folks that go to college. All right, but maybe also. Who's this guy commenting down here? What's this say? That's the most coherent. Look, maybe I partook in some of that stuff that the House is trying to push through, and maybe I'm thinking a little bit clearer. All right? Maybe there's some benefits. Maybe there's some medical benefits. Maybe you fucking Republicans like Mr. KOE up there need to get with the program. All right? Corn Pop knew what was up. Corn Pop was a cool dude.
Now, I've got to ask,
legs in the pool.
Joe, if I can have just a moment. Now, Tiberius,
Yes,
this
sir.
is a big, big opportunity for you.
Uh-oh.
This is your chance to ask
You're on with the president of
Joseph
the United
Biden
States.
any question. So if you had one question to ask Joe Biden right now, what would it be, Tiberius? Be as serious as you can, because I want to see how Joe.
Okay, yeah, no,
I want to see how he fires
If
back.
I actually can ask Joe Biden one question, it's, dude, what are you gonna do in November after the Democrats get the crap kicked out of them?
Look, I'm prepared. Look, my vice president, Michelle Obama, look, she's prepared. I mean, wait a minute. Hang on. No, I'm going to get this right. Look, Michael Obama, look, come on, Kamala Harris. No, stop it. Look, my vice president, Kamala, look, she's a beautiful woman. She's amazing, and she's just an inspiration, all right? Look, she's gonna get down and dirty. She's gonna get on her knees. She's gonna do what has to be done. She's gonna do the hard work, and she's gonna make sure we're not gonna get our asses whooped like you're predicting, mister. Like we're gonna turn things around. We're building back better, and if that means getting a little bit of stuff on your blouse, it is what it is.
Well done, ladies and gentlemen, the current occupant of 1600 Pennsylvania
Joe,
Avenue.
as always, we appreciate having you on. Any last words for the American people,
folks? Yes.
Any last words for the American people you wanna like get out there before we kick your ass off of here?
Look, we're just building back better every day, and don't worry about us flip-flopping from this week to next week, and I'm sure that whatever press secretary I find next will be the spawn of Satan, just like fucking Chucky. Jen Psaki. We'll see you in November.
The President of the United States, ladies and gentlemen.
The most popular
Joseph
president in history, everyone.
Biden.
So yes, Tiberius, I can tell you're extremely honored. Like this was a moment that you did not think was like. I know you came on this show, we had the big guests, but in all legitimacy,
Build a bear.
Yes, build. Nice, well done, Lynn. But I do got to say, getting back to your analysis, you do bring up a good point of everybody's hand is in the cookie jar, because it's even like, what do you know? Romney's kid is also in Ukraine pilfering money. Nancy's kid is in Ukraine, or I think maybe like a nephew or something. Is it? And like, to me, yes, the corruption is very, very bipartisan, but it's one of those like, the minute you start to see it, like you said, it looks
now gross all the way around though.
Hunter's, let's not pretend that's not uniquely bad, because just the shit that was just his personal shit that was on revealed was just like, if it wasn't for the fact that it was sank in the news media and in the social media purposely suppressed, that probably would have turned the election in favor of Donald Trump.
In a country of 330 million, whatever we're at right now, like it's disgusting when you start hearing the same names pop up over and over and over. Like you were saying, through the whole Ukraine thing, that's pretty fucking gross. But then you even jump into like the Ghislaine Maxwell and it's Comey's fucking daughter's the lead prosecutor. You're like, is this what? Like that can't. Okay, coincidence. Okay, we'll call that. But then it just keeps happening and happening. And you're just like, Jesus Christ. Like, I don't want to go all Alex Jones on shit, but fuck, it's right in front of my face. Like, what am I supposed to say? Like, this seems like just blatant corruption at a certain point. Like,
so I'm not familiar with the Comey's daughter's part, but are we?
She's the lead prosecutor on the Ghislaine Maxwell case. And then obviously, so Ghislaine Maxwell is being found guilty. Sounds like everything's going to go through. The appeal didn't stick, but like nobody else has charges. So they are finding her guilty of child sex trafficking, even though she never trafficked them. So it's like, how do you prove that she's guilty of it? If she didn't do it, that means somebody else did it, but nobody else is going to jail for this.
And also keep in mind, she's the first person in human history to be convicted of sex trafficking minors to no one. All the fucking evidence of who was the fucking Johns has been sealed, and we're not allowed to know who they are. And so that's a huge bit of fucking corruption. And so it's like, when they say it's a conspiracy that there's a pedophile ring that runs DC. Epstein. Oh, excuse me, guys. I just been having these
if you're going to convict somebody of being guilty, yet there's no actual victims in place, and we can't actually connect the dots, but we're just going to go through with this. Like, I understand she deserves it, And I don't want her to not get a guilty verdict, but Jesus.
I just
we're
want the files
blatantly
unsealed.
covering up more shit at that point, are we not?
Yeah, and so that's what we're kind of getting at is that it's starting to get uniquely bad now, and when you add the Hunter stuff on top of that, it's what we're going to kind of get into in another story, but it's like now, Ty, you've been saying that there's been a lot of changes in the parties, but there's also been some changes in some branding, because I think it would be fair to say that the Democrats have done all they can over the last 20 years to try and brand the word Republican racist. Is that a fair
that's
assessment,
very fair.
Ty, in your opinion? The Democrats have tried all they can to make that word synonymous with racist.
They have, and the funny thing is that they kind of missed the boat in the regard that, one, I've actually seen the Republicans in some ways actually get uniquely less racist, while the Democrats have openly and flauntingly engaged in being more racist.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, that's very true.
I mean, even in California in the last election, they were advancing a bill, like it was a ballot issue that you could vote on to allow people to discriminate based on race again. And that's in Democrat-run California. But now, like, conversely, Ty, the Republicans in the last... Later, Yank. As conversely, on the opposite side of the coin, now there's going to be some strong language here, folks, but they're starting to make the word Democrat on the far right pretty much synonymous with the word pedophile. And so that's where you're getting like okay groomer, and you're getting like all, and so it's starting to get like pretty nasty tit for tat. Like you said, like there's an escalation. We're just going to see how far it goes. But this is just when you add that Hunter Biden, and then with all these other stories we're talking about, it does kind of add to that general branding, if you will.
Here's that it's a good segue to lead us into the next story. We can continue this conversation of how the left and the right are trying to frame each other into things, because like this one is the epitome of failures and successes on both sides, really. Like there's I thought Democrats did a good job framing this with really good wording, but ultimately it's turned against them. I don't think they were prepared for it. So we got critics of Florida's Don't Say Gay bill or law will say damage to LGBTQ students, parents, and teachers. So if you don't know, pretty much you're not, as teachers or school faculty, you're not allowed to have private conversations with children under a certain age about sexuality. And you have to report these conversations to the parents through that age group. You can still openly have conversations that are not in secret and public conversations at the same time. So
did Jake actually drop 500?
No,
stars?
Jake dropped 50 fucking stars. Jake doesn't understand how this works.
Okay,
you can't drop
it's
50
500
stars
for a shot of gin, Jake. I said, he asked me what shot I was taking. I said I would do gin. He said, nice, probably better gin. It's Pinnacle gin. It's definitely better than Beefeater, but yes, you would be 450, and I will do the gin shot, Jake.
So anyway, thoughts on the branding of this bill. The Democrats, I thought, did a really good job of saying "Don't say gay." Making it the "Don't say gay" bill is actually really like, it got a lot of traction. It got a lot of people to actually click on it and go, "Oh my god, this sounds terrible."
Like, in terms of branding, both sides, you have to give them A+ in their branding, because "Don't Say Gay" is like "I like Ike." It's just so easy to remember, and it just goes, it spreads the idea so quickly. It's kind of like
keep it 3-4 syllables, and you can make it rhyme. Fuck yeah, you got it.
Now on the other side, if you oppose this bill, all they have to do is just say "Okay, groomer," and that's it. And so
the easiest thing.
Both sides, you have to give A+ for their branding, even if you don't agree with their tactics.
Yep, yeah. I agree.
Ty, what's your thoughts, sir?
I'm largely going to have to go with you on this one. The problem is that, actually, I don't know. Maybe this is a problem. Maybe this is actually a really good thing, is that this is going to come down to the moderates. And I've always said that the moderates really are the ones who decide where this country goes. The problem is with moderates is that they don't tend to like ideologically stay in one camp. So each individual moderate tends to be really unique compared to the next one because they have a particular blend of things that makes them go, well, I don't really feel like I'm part of this crew or this crew. So like they just kind of go their own way. They're going to be the ones that decide this on a social level. Congratulations, the normies, the people who do part-time politics are going to decide the issue.
Tony,
this guy, we call Tony our normie, moderate, and I'm like, this whole time, I'm like, Ty, don't encourage him. Oh my God. Like, Tony,
It
I
all
love you to
sounded
death.
amazing. Like,
I love you to death. Your
Being
politics infuriate me.
Everything he was saying was just
oh
wonderful.
snap.
Yeah, he did it.
Yep. But yeah, so you know, you do raise a good point there. Is like, because I remember Rush Limbaugh years ago, like when he was on his show, he's talking about John McCain's fucking strategy, and he was like just being kind of like annoyed about, and then you got to do this and got to do that, and don't do anything to upset the moderates and independents. And like, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, like when you've got 6 swing states that decide the election, yeah, like suddenly that soccer mom in Scranton fucking matters.
All right, Tony.
Look,
Gin shot.
It's beer day. Damn it, Jake. I was looking forward to actually chugging a beer on beer day, not gin. Whatever, fuck it. I guess Phil's not the only gin lover tonight. Cheers, folks. Happy beer day. Oh, that is lovely.
He handled it way better.
Well, yeah.
Well, not a pussy.
He's more seasoned than I.
So here's where my thoughts are on, like, I don't know why Democrats fought back on this bill so badly. They're losing this battle. Most people support this bill, even Democrats. What was the poll? I think it was like 55 to 60% of Democrats in Florida support this bill passing. Good night,
What
Jake.
else was in it?
Well, it was a very simple bill, and they tried to make it sound as bad as possible with this "don't say gay" thing, and it didn't work. It blew up in their face. And now you have Texas, you have Alabama. I want to say there's like 4 or 5 states that are introducing bills similar to this. Now it's spreading across the country because, well, when they see that Democrats in Florida are like, no, this is actually a good bill, we should do this.
You know,
the memes have been so harmful one way or the other that have been coming out from this. Like, they have taken it and glorified it or demonized it so viciously. It's been beautiful watching this thing come down just on a meme level, because it's been funny. Like, even the lefty memes have been funny.
It's either the mainstream left is that out of touch with reality and what Tiberius was talking about with the well, you can call them the whatever you want. I'll call them midwits. Sorry, Tony. But those folks
expect anything different, cocksucker.
I love you too. But it's like that group's gonna go, no, this actually doesn't sound that bad. So they lost this battle, and now it's just triggered this maybe a domino effect, if you will. Maybe not as big as some may think it is, but if you get 5 states to pass a similar bill, which pretty much just says, hey, don't talk to my kids about sexual orientation because the parents aren't comfortable with it, that doesn't sound that fucking bad to 90% of this country. There's just this, and then you're like, okay, who's for this? And then you start looking around and you're like, are you on a pedophile list? Like, this is the thoughts that start running through parents' heads of like, why is this guy fighting for this bill to be passed to where they want my teacher to talk to my kid about being bi or trans or whatever? Well, if my kids, most parents go, if my kid's bi or trans or whatever, I want them to talk to me about it. I'm not going to stop them. I want to make sure they're comfortable and blah, blah, blah. Well, I think a good chunk of this country has actually turned pretty goddamn progressive.
I hope you're right on that. But it's the yin and yang of that, because when parents are hearing specific things about this, like, okay, we're going to start talking about sex and identity, genderism when it comes to kids on a very young level, the initial thought is, well, hang on, I don't want you grooming my kids to think this, or I don't want you trying to put the idea in my kid's head in first grade that they should be talking about transitioning. That's ridiculous. But at the same time, they're also thinking, well, fuck, I don't want to have that conversation with my fucking kid. Yeah, you guys just do that because that's the reaction. It's the yin and yang reactionary thought process, because they're thinking, I don't want you to tell my kids this, but they're also thinking, I don't want to have this talk with my kids.
No, I think it's a difference between your suburbanite white liberal mom, which is what won Joe Biden the election allegedly, and then that white suburbanite mom's husband, where he crosses that line and goes, no, fuck you. No, you're not going to be okay with, like, this ain't happening in my house. Like, there's still that line in this country that I think still exists, that might be what separated this issue to where, because most of the woke shit that still sneaks into suburbs and in inner cities from the white suburbanite mom, the soccer mom,
Right.
if you will, the Karens, if you will,
I was
it's
waiting
their
for that.
husbands. It's their husbands eventually just say, okay, shit has gone too far. Like, we're done with this. I'm not like, you want to do this? No, it's either, it's this or that. That's the line. I think that maybe I'm wrong. I could be totally off base here, but
well, if I may, it's just one thing that keeps kind of coming back to my mind, and this was something I first addressed in actually response to Tiberius, actually in my response to your why you hate the Republicans, why you hate the Democrats video, and we talked about. You talked about education. I talked about education. And this is another one of the reasons why Republicans could potentially clean up in the midterms is because the education issue, because like folks like Ron DeSantis, like they touch on something very fundamental. If you're a parent with a kid in school, you are concerned of what the fuck is this parent pumping my kid's head full of? Because why are people concerned about this? It's very, very simple.
Why is libs of TikTok so popular?
Because children are young and impressionable. Yeah. And people are afraid that you might give their children an impression that they did not want imparted upon them. And it's their children and it's their right. And so to me, this is why the Republicans are going to clean up in the midterms. And if they can keep that momentum, probably take back the White House in 2024 based on education alone. Did you ever think you'd live to see a world where Republicans are winning elections based on education?
So I'm going to take a bit of a different stance here.
Ooh.
All right. So here's where I think this is actually kind of going and where it's at. According to the polls that I saw, and granted the polls are a little off bouquet, Nate Silver couldn't count fucking dimes for all I'm concerned.
Right back. I gotta pee. I'm listening, but I gotta go pee.
Yeah, no problem. Anyway, where I'm looking at is that what won Joe Biden the election was that it wasn't suburban moms. They actually were always kind of for him or leaned him. It was suburban dads actually flipped against him. And there was two reasons. Number one was COVID. In that it was a lot of elderly men in particular that were like, hey, look, you're not looking after your primary voter base, which is old people. So, we'll give it to the Democrat. And then anyone who was more like middle age was largely going that while they thought Trump was actually like decent when it came to actually doing the job, he was horrible when it came to moral standards. He absolutely failed in that regard. So when it comes to like the social part, suburbanites did decide that election. They almost decide every election, to be honest. But when it came down to it is where we're going into 2022, the mood actually hasn't changed. The mood is that Democrats are actually the more moral party, whether you agree with it or not, but that's what the polling indicates. But the Republicans are the party that actually keeps your gasoline prices low and makes your food affordable. Yep. And that's what we're going to see a referendum on going into 22, because everything that I have seen, that largely hasn't changed. We can talk about all the major issues that are on the block, is that suburbia is openly showing over the last 2 years. They're probably going to go Republican on this election, but it's not because they like Republican rhetoric when it comes to social issues more. There's a few things that move the points. Don't Say Gay is actually one of them. But the big hitter is that they're literally looking at their gas prices. They're literally looking at their food prices and like, I'll vote for Democrats when times are good. But if times ain't good, I'm voting for Republicans because I got to pay bills.
It's like that tweet I sent to your side chat. Mean tweets, cheap gas 2024. Like that's like people aren't going to give a shit about the bad times if they can think about having cheap gas again. Now, funny enough, I was just actually watching the markets today, not to be construed as actual investment advice, but I was actually watching it, and the oil prices have actually dropped a little bit below $100 a barrel. And now, granted, your gas price is going to get a lot cheaper, but even the economists are talking about like, yes, you might actually get this, but it'll be at the cost of destroying the economy. And basically everything that I'm seeing, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Ty, but I don't think I am. Everybody strap in, get ready for a recession.
There's a few things that are looking like we're heading that way. I don't want to disclose on particularly any particular point because there's about as many things making it look like we're going to have 10% growth as there is we're going to go negative again. So I don't even want to comment on that personally because we've got a lot going on right now that makes it look like we're about to see another industrial like golden age that we haven't seen since 43. So here's where what I do want to hit on. I am shocked that that barrels of oil aren't going 170 to 200. And I am shocked that wheat isn't going $16 to $20 a bushel.
You know, we could definitely go there.
Here's the thing.
There's a non-zero chance of that.
I like, here's the thing. Number one, I don't know what's going into the markets on a day-to-day basis. I don't look at that. My thing's macro trends. But here's what I can blatantly, absolutely, and tell you. Come the end of the year, we're going to see a food shortage not in this country, but on the planet. And it'll be the poor countries that suffer from it, but we're going to see a food shortage. We've already seen a fertilizer shortage, and we're literally seeing entire fertilizer companies turn the hell off. They're not doing it. When this breaks down, and it will this year, you're going to see the Russian energy system, at least 30% of it, but probably actually more towards 70% of it is going offline, and it won't be able to export. And that's 5 million barrels a day. We didn't even get to the massive cubic feet of natural gas, right? Because they're the number one exporter in the world of that. With the United States as a close second. So you're talking about the world's largest natural gas supplier going largely offline. Fertilizer. Belarus and Russia together are 40% of world potash, not the exports, production. I am looking at a systematic collapse in a sizable, let's say about 15% of global energy production. I am looking at a 40 to 60% reduction in the ability to make fertilizer, planetary-wise. And probably somewhere between.
I think it'll still be that high, huh?
Between a 10, well, yeah, like the potash is huge. Like basically, Russia and Belarus supply most of Eurasia, and particularly, I've heard this number. I can't verify it. The two biggest suppliers they actually do is to Sub-Saharan Africa and Brazil, which capable, but I don't know. I don't have those numbers. When it comes down to it, at least, is that even the numbers I can verify blatantly across the gate, I guarantee, unless some weird things happens where humanity just puts one together, team, you're going to see wheat shoot through the roof come the end of the year. You're going to see oil shoot through the roof at the end of the year. And the only thing that will stop any of that here at home is if you actually start seeing export bans or export controls to where you have Washington openly say, you can sell away, but you sell to Americans first.
So what's any good news?
Macro price controls. Those never work. Oh God. No. That does sound like recession.
The only thing I wanted to say real quick was I don't think the only reason that people are going to flip towards the Republicans is because of the stuff. You're 100% right, because people who vote the way they vote are going to vote the way they're going to vote. They're just groomed to be that way. I hate to keep using the word groom, but it fits. It applies.
Oh no, I liked what he said. When there's bad times, you do.
Yeah, when there's bad times, I like that. That it makes perfect sense. But it's also because we've been seeing. Now, I don't know that this is just solely because of Donald Trump and the celebrity status that surrounded him, but since him becoming a legitimate candidate, becoming the president, and being such a figure, regardless of being the president or not, in politics, the celebrity status of politicians has been very uptrending. And I think that's going to play against the Democrats in a big way when it comes this cycle, because you're looking at people like AOC, you're looking at people like Nancy Pelosi, you're looking at, hell, it comes down to the press secretary, Jem Psaki. Like, you're looking at these people and you're looking at the way that they talk to us, and they're looking at the things that they're saying. Now, you can take the words that Donald Trump said over 4 years and you can twist them any way that you want. But the Democrats that are put on the forefront of a podium and talking to us, they're talking to us like that we're children. We don't understand, and we should just comply. And that pisses a lot of people off, not just Republicans, not just moderates, but Democrats.
No, Tony, even the ones that we trusted, like the Jon Stewarts, have even gone down that fucking road.
If I may, this is a bit more of a macro thing, and Ty, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this. I've always noticed one of the reasons why I think
comments will pull up.
Yes, but one of the reasons why I think conservatives always find, and a lot of people find, liberals so condescending, is because if you look at the left and the right, I've always noticed that liberals kind of look at conservatives as somebody who wanted to become a liberal but somehow failed. And then on the other side, I've noticed that conservatives look at liberals as somebody that could have been a conservative, but was along the way was somehow corrupted. And I've noticed that that's the way that I've noticed this odd juxtaposition. I'm sorry. What are your takes, gentlemen?
I guess you addressed me, so I'll go first. I don't feel that way. I do see the animosity, but it's in a completely different regard. Number one that I'll say is that the biggest reasons you actually do have left and right politics is not for what I would call blatantly like factual reasons. It's ideological, and if you want to root it down, it's moral reasons. What I have definitely noticed out of the right wing, or you can call it the Republicans, conservatives, what have you, the general thing about making somebody a right winger at this point is that they tend to have an affinity or a leaning into hierarchy, meritocracy, and individuality. And the left largely embodies more of equality, communitarianism, and kind of a unity prospect, which is weird. Because that wasn't how it used to be. In fact, it was almost in some ways exactly reversed. I think that the country actually had a moral realignment about 10 years ago, and no one really understood that. And we're only in about, the first decade of that, and it usually takes 2 to 3 decades to fall through. Remind you that the Reagan Revolution started with Nixon, right? And it didn't really even finish until Bush won. I think we're just going through one of these trends, but when it's done and over with is that you're going to see the left and the right morally be quite different. And the reason why there's so much animosity between traditional, I don't even want to call them liberals, because I've openly will say that the Republican Party is the liberal party now, more so than they're conservative at this point. And the Democrats have become the progressive party. So at least where I'm at,
it's probably fair. Now, I think go ahead.
Yeah, just to finish out where I'm at, the animosity that I generally see, that I'm going to put into context and detail, is simply that the animosity from the right wing is that they look at progressives as not deranged, but blatantly hellbent in the regards that they chase reform to such a degree that they will break anything and everything to get there. And I think that's actually a little bit legitimate. That being said, I'm biased. I do side myself as a right winger, even though I don't get called a right winger a lot. The other side of that is when it comes to the left's animosity for the right, is that it's almost like a nobility kind of thing, is that they've become the college graduated folks. And so they look down on a lot of people because or the right wing because they tend to be poor, they tend to be less educated, they tend to be less socially conscious, and they tend to be more. I don't know how to word this one.
Elitist.
If you want to go with it, just it is a level of elitism. Does it deserve
smug?
Like I mean, if you want to put it that way, sure. But I will definitely say that there is an air.
Synonyms. It's okay.
Yeah, sure. There is an air of elitism that comes from the left, and there's an air of I guess just reckless disdain from the right when it comes to the left. So, like, don't get me wrong, I actually think some of these are really justified, but I'll have to pick those apart personally.
Okay. Interesting.
Fair enough.
What was the original question?
Oh, we touched on a lot of shit there.
Yeah, this is a discussion. But one last thing before we shift gears. The one thing I would put a little bit finer point when you were talking about the difference of the outlook of the left and the right. What I've noticed is on the right, there's more of an emphasis on systems, like the institutions of the systems, like how does the police station work? How does the town work? How does this work? It's an emphasis on the system, while on the left, you have more of an emphasis on outcome. Like, okay, how are we going to get help for this person? How are we going to get this done? And they don't really seem to care as much about the, and for Republicans is if you disrupt the system, that's when they start getting really antsy and itchy and they start fucking shifting in their chair a little bit once you start to disrupt their systems. Well, Democrats and on the left, that's just my personal observation. They're much more outcome oriented. And that's just the last final point I'd put on that.
I don't know if they're more outcome oriented. You said less outcome oriented?
On the left, they care more about the outcome than the actual system that's involved in getting there. They don't care about the cost. They don't care about. Well, that's what I mean. They don't care about the system. They just care about the outcome.
I would love to get in on this if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
I actually don't necessarily agree or disagree with you in the regard that I find that neither the left or the right are really that ideologically or personally consistent. And that if either side wants to make an outcome argument, they will happily do so, and they may even be correct in some of the things that they're saying. And then the left will do the exact same thing, but then they'll flip gears where they'll be moral and principled, but then 2 months later they're completely being hypocrites, and it doesn't matter if it's right or left. It's been incredibly consistent, at least from my eyes. I'm very much disgusted with the state of our politics because there is no long-term games that I'm seeing. That it's like, hey, I'm going to invest in the future of the Republican or Democratic Party. It's literally, can I win the next election? It literally is
living in the moment. It's a platform of living in the moment. Like, you have to adjust to the moment. And whoever is in control at the moment, you basically have to take your entire platform, flip-flop it, and just live on a life raft of your core values. That's why you see a lot of that. We're going to pass marijuana. Well, it's hallucinogenic and it's evil. But at the same time, you're seeing, well, we're still here for the working man, though, here all of a sudden. It's so weird to see this set of values thrown by the wayside, but this set of values, we're going to plant our stake in the ground even harder, depending on the party, depending on the time, and depending on the election season. It's a little disgusting, but it's not like it's anything new. It's just we're able to document it and watch it and feel it, and it's weird.
I'm sorry. I'll say is for me in my lifetime, and some of you might be older, some of you might be younger, I'm not sure, is that I have noticed that in the 90s, you would see political actors take knees whenever it came to their principles, whether it be right or left, and they will not do it anymore. Like, I do not see anyone in politics openly be like, yeah, I'm going to take a knee here. I'm going to take the L because my principles tell me to. And just two things that I'm going to say regarding that is, number one, a principled politician, I could be wrong. They might just get their ass beat, but I'm actually kind of convinced now that people are so starved for it that if you get somebody who's actually moral and principled and actually goes with their own principles, not saying they go with everybody's, but they go with theirs and they're consistent, they're going to get a lot of respect really quickly.
Now, I will say we did have him. His name was Ron Paul, and the American people did not choose him.
Well, he wasn't one of the D's.
Allegedly did not choose him.
Yeah.
All I will say about Ron Paul, he actually had a lot of respect from a lot of people. The problem with Ron Paul is actually it was his ideology. Libertarianism has the hardest time of any of the four quadrants of actually moving any political will, because conservatives say, hey, I'll put it this way. Old school conservatism was, hey, let me go to the polls. I'll help out big business because that will trickle down to you. I will keep abortion, it's off the table as possible. And, I will protect your Second Amendment rights. That's old conservatism. That's something you can go to the polls with. Social conservatism, usually. Old Democrats would be like, hey, we're the party of labor. We need to empower unions. We need to empower your workers' rights. We'll get you that 36-hour work week or some shit like that. That's what they ran to the polls with. And then while these aren't a political institution yet, is that I think the compass is actually moving in that regard. The statists, these are people that are socially conservative but economically liberal. If they were a political entity, they'd be like, hey, look, we believe that abortion's bad, but we also believe that you're working class and we need to give you a hand. Believe it or not, I think one of the parties is actually going to go there, but I'll touch that later.
The statist party? Well, that looks kind of like the Democrats at the moment.
I think we're actually going to, I think we're going to see a statist versus a libertarian party. The quadrants are going to flip, or not flip, but they're going to rotate 90, where you're going to see, instead of a liberal conservative dichotomy, we're actually going to see more of a statist libertarian dichotomy.
Now, you mentioned that because I give Chicken a hard time, and Tony conversely sometimes, because Chicken actually does some campaign work for the Libertarian Party in Iowa. And me being dedicated Mr. Republican, I always give him shit like, oh, all those
we know we're going to lose, and we're
libertarian Supreme Court justices that have been ascended to the Supreme Court, all those libertarian bills that have made it through. Yeah, Mitch got 3 on the fucking court, okay? The Republicans, when they fucking go to fucking the mat, they fucking go to the mat. And so it's one of those kind of frustrating things because, like, as a conservative, you want them all under your tent. Don't be going off to the other parties. Come on.
To my defense, I joined the Mises Caucus, which was more or less just a troll to get rid of the old school libertarians that have done nothing for 30 years. And we successfully did that. And so far, I think 35 states we've taken over. So we get a radical takeover of the Libertarian Party that most people aren't talking about.
Because
I want to
libertarians are dug in, but they're hard to move.
I want to circle back to a comment that Jake made. I know this isn't like this doesn't need to be super deep, but yeah, Jake did ask: is Trump really disinterested on not being nominated for Speaker of the House? Just curious.
Why would he want that?
It's a
waste of time.
Oh, it was one of the most beautiful Q stories. It was brilliant.
It's a fun thought.
Can I tell it? Can I tell it? This was the. Like, as for the Trump folks that were like listening to Mike Lindell every day, this was the shit that I was hearing from them.
Exactly.
And it was like, okay, don't worry, it's all gonna be fixed. It's all gonna be fine. It's God,
any day now. It's coming next week, folks. You're gonna hear more next week. You'll see another drop. More's gonna happen.
Yeah. Lost my train of thought there. But go ahead, one of you.
Oh, well, no. The whole Q theory that fucking Trump was going to get back into the fucking White House.
Oh, yeah, through the Speaker of the House. There we go. That's right. He was going to be nominated Speaker of the House. And then when the Republicans took back Congress, they were going to lead the impeachment of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and then Trump would be placed back in to the presidency. Don't worry, just type in promo code Q17 at mypillow.com and this will all come to pass. So yeah, it was quite a time to be alive, wasn't it?
It's fantastic.
We're gonna tell our grandchildren about the election of 2020. Like that one was fucking wild.
Want to.
But now,
I want my kids to vote.
All right.
I'm never gonna bring up 2020 to my kids.
We got one more.
One more story. We're gonna run a little long tonight, folks. Some of you guys are still hanging out. We still got.
Yeah, we got plenty of people watching. You actually enjoy us for once. Like, hey, Thursday worked out tonight.
Yes, and to be frank, if you haven't sent the link to this show to one of your friends, can you really say
or
that
hit
you're
that
actually
thumbs up, thumbs up button?
Yes, hit
Jake
the thumbs
also
up.
did ask mention this. Lithium is going to go to an all-time low.
It would be the only thing in this economy. Like
Maybe.
everything's heading to all-time
Really?
highs. So yeah, but we'll see what happens. But not to be construed as actual investment advice. But all right, folks. Now,
All right,
we've got
final
the
story
main
of the
event.
night.
Yes. Bring it on.
Elon Musk's arrival stirs fears among some Twitter employees. As we all know, he has spent roughly $3 billion to gain a 9-point-some% share of Twitter. So now he was the biggest shareholder of Twitter. Self-described free speech absolutist, acquired enough shares to become the top Twitter shareholder. Political conservatives began flooding social media with calls for the return of Donald Trump. The former U.S. president was banned from Facebook. We know this. This is one of those garbage articles. There's not a lot
Musk
of actual
actually-
good information.
Did you see what Musk actually hit with Zuckerberg today? He just dropped, "Hey, can I buy
He's like,
Facebook?"
Yeah.
Like, motherfucker, this guy's putting
fantastic.
some work in. But he
Hold on,
figured
let's-
out Truth Social didn't make it. So it's like, they say, if you don't like it, start your own platform. So Elon Musk goes, all right, I'll just buy my own platform then. And now he's got a platform. And I wonder if lefties are going to who had been saying for years upon years that it's a private platform, they can do whatever they want. Winky
I love
face
this.
because it's advantageous to leftists. Twitter's next board meeting. Oh, god damn it, this motherfucker's legend. But I wonder if they're going to have their come to Jesus moment about it's a private platform and they could do what if Musk does say, okay, we're giving Trump his Twitter back?
So okay, then goodbye, True Social. What the fuck was the point of that?
Well,
it'll still hang around.
Dude, it
Trump
sucks.
It's
Trump
so
will
use
terrible.
Twitter to promote Truth Social. Yeah, goddamn well he'd take his Twitter back in a second. Wow. Unfortunately, Grow the Farm Up, you're probably right. Are Elon Musk tiers worth 10 times the market capital value of regular human tiers?
Yes.
Please say yes. And
Yes,
Grow the Farm Up, check him out on YouTube.
Yes.
Another great channel, my brother's YouTube channel. Check out Grow the Farm Up, folks.
Now, I said this a couple weeks ago or last week. I don't remember when, but we've listened to this argument. We have listened to this argument many a time on this show from a couple of different people who have verbatim said, look, if you do not like the fact that what you're saying is being censored or deleted or hidden, or the algorithm just says, no, look, you can't say that because you don't think it's right, just go out there and start your own platform. Which is a completely ridiculous, unrealistic way of saying, well, fuck you. We don't care that you can't get your message out there. Guess what? This motherfucker can. Elon Musk can do that. He could start his own, or he can just buy one. And the motherfucker went and did it and bought one. So now that argument is
I hope
fucking
it's a pump
moot.
and dump. I really
We
do.
can take
That's
argument,
an aspect of
and
it.
we can fold it up into origami and then crumple it into a ball and shoot it like Kobe into a goddamn trash can. Guess what? No. Only people
Kobe.
like Elon Musk can make or buy a platform. Not everybody can. And guess what? The censorship, I hope to hell, ends fucking here. Because the only way to get
It's
the real
not going
fucking
to.
opinion of the American people out there is to not censor. And if you want to actually hear the opinion of the standard American person, and from this side or this side, from all the spectrums, you can't shut people up for the sole sake that you don't like what they have to say. We have Vladimir Putin and the leader of ISIS still have Twitter fucking handles, right? But the former president of the United States doesn't. That's the world we live in. What kind of fucking message does that send? It's bullshit, and it's always been bullshit. It's about censorship. It's about control, and now we're taking the control back. And that's coming from a guy who's a moderate.
If I may, real quick, and then I will.
Yeah,
yield
president
to
of
you,
Russia does
Ty.
have an account. Still.
The one thing that a lot of people are not taking into account here is Elon is also making a smart investment strategy because he sees
Hell
that Twitter's
yeah.
stock is vastly undervalued because of their terms of service. Because the people that are actually working at Twitter are willing to ban almost 80% of the human population, if they won't subscribe to their woke values, stock price be damned. Yes, it's a highly undervalued stock. And if he can actually do some cleaning of house and allow some people to actually just say a couple of things, because it's a really weird platform, because you can promote pornography, but people get banned for talking about gender. And so, like, if he can kind of get that straightened again, I think, yeah, you're going to see a huge uptick in their stock. Not to be construed as actual investment advice. And with that, Ty, I yield to you, sir.
So I'm of two minds with this. Number one, anyone who thinks that Elon's just going to come in with a big dick swing and fix everything, I'm scratching my head out a little bit.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not going to happen.
No, he's not going to fix shit.
Okay, so on the other side of this, here's the reality. Does Elon have the clout, the gravitas to really possibly move Twitter? Yes. Where does that actually go? It's not that I don't think Elon's capable. He actually really is capable. He's very adept at like learning like industry trades, what it takes to make that successful, kicking ass and taking names. He's a not a venture capitalist. He is a philanthropist in a true regard. This might be his biggest challenge though, because talk about batteries and Tesla. Holy crap, that was bad enough. But what you're asking here is, how do you turn Twitter from a woke hellscape into not being 4chan? That is the reality in which Elon's goal, if he's actually going to do this, is that
there is a happy medium in there.
I'm sure there possibly is, but hitting it's a bitch, because what a lot of this is that you have to moderate. And moderating something as large as Twitter, especially if you start letting a bunch of people back on, or you basically have to give people a clean new slate, or reform your TOS so that it's a lot more inclusive for people. You got more people you got to look after. And like, this is done by automation. This is done by bots. There is a massive, and I mean absolutely massive, series of hurdles that you're going to have to clear. And if you don't hit them, and I'm going to say there's probably 3 of them, you don't hit them all in sequence, you don't do them right, you can just implode Twitter. Don't get me wrong, I would not cry to see Twitter implode. It's kind of a joke.
That might be the plan too. What you're calling a bug might be the main feature.
So, okay, this whole social media thing all goes down the same fucking toilet drain. We talked about this before. Every one of them, whether it's a new startup or you buy one that's already existing, like, we have so many out there, and we get to see how they all operate. Like, I got a couple accounts on True Social. It is a dumpster fire of boomer garbage Trump won memes. Like, it is not like, there's nothing funny on there. It's just stupid grandmas talking shit. It's no fun being there for me. And then you got Facebook, which is probably one of the more probably got the bigger mix just because it's been around longer. When it comes to actual policy, though, I think Gab has the best policies when it comes to free speech. They follow it by law, like free speech law. They don't do anything beyond that. But still doxing. Technically, there's no laws in certain states on doxing, so that's the only thing they go beyond that. Now, when you go to Twitter makes up their own shit. And they go by international law. Like, so all of them have these different things. The problem is nobody wants to go to Gab because it's a right-wing echo chamber. Right. And the people in Gab don't want to go to Twitter because they'll all get banned because it's a left-wing echo chamber. Like, so the right's like, hey, you can go to Gab. You're going to see a bunch of shit you don't like, but you can go to Gab. We'll never ban you. You can say whatever you want, but you're just not going to like a lot of shit they say, and we're not going to ban them. So it all goes down the same drain. They eventually, if they actually want to make money and they want advertisers and they want to become a Twitter or a Facebook or, one of the big names, it's all going to come back to the same thing of how do we make money and who do we accept, who do we not accept, and what rules do we follow and not follow, because the advertisers are going to pull their fucking money. Gab's not making money off advertisers. They're doing it kind of like underground, like weird shit. That's why nobody goes there, because, well, No advertisers are bringing you there. So it all goes hand in hand. It's all about advertising. It's all about Section 230. It's all about fucking federal law and how this shit's going to go. Well, am I wrong? Like, until that changes or something, I'm not saying I want 230 to go away, because that there's like, it could go several directions after that. If you do remove 230, this show probably wouldn't exist if we get rid of 230. But yeah, there's a lot of problems no matter how you look at it, but nobody's actually looking to fix those problems. It's right now it's run by advertising. That's all I'm getting at is
now if I may, you know, when you talk about there's the different directions the censors could go in, like Amanda said, you know, you could see just a vastly different direction in Twitter. You could say almost anything you like, as long as it's not speaking ill of Tesla cars. You will see no evil, speak no evil, and hear no evil of Tesla. And that's the big terms of service. You never know. Now, Ty, you were touching on 3 hurdles that Twitter and any social media needs to overcome. What were those, sir?
Go ahead.
If I were going to outline it, number 1 is that you need a TOS that is I'm sorry. Number 1, you need a TOS that is generalized enough, that is like understand by the layman, but also rigid enough that people know where the lines are, and it's not ubiquitous to where you literally see 1,000 people wiped off because Twitter had a bad day.
Does any social media platform have that right now?
Hashtag learn to code.
I don't know, because I'll be honest, I don't know. And the reason why is that while I am on social media, I despise social media. I like to, as we call it, touch grass.
That's fair. Yep. That's fair.
So I'm not gonna openly get into that particular thing. Nope. So number 1, you need a solid, consistent TOS. Okay. Number 2 is that you actually have to have a consistent enforcement, and this is something that I've seen horrifically done. Yeah. I like to stream on Twitch a lot, and Twitch has been very rewarding to me personally. But when it comes down to it, they are openly partisan and hostile with the way that they enforce anything. Twitter is almost as bad as them. Sometimes they're even worse. And then you've got the people who largely just defer to whoever has ownership rights. I'm looking at you, YouTube.
Susan Wiki.
So
I'm standing.
You, Susan.
When it comes down to it, hurdle number 2 is, can you actively enforce it in a way that, you know, people find fair? That's going to be a huge hurdle, and that's actually probably the hardest one. The final part is, we'll call it gatekeeping for a minute here. How do you keep the 4chan users off? Because usually, if you can clear 1 and 2, it's really hard not to have trolls ubiquitous throughout your platform. And, you know, granted, now that the Russian bot farms have been removed from the equation, it's a lot better, but we still have got a lot of issues with people just posting entirely either blatantly inflammatory shit or just basically trying to screw with people and get them to spell in all caps, because that is a very real thing.
Yeah,
it is.
Now, when you said,
I'm curious about that Tim Pool thing. We'll come back to that.
When you were saying how to make it fair in a way that everybody can kind of wrap their minds around it, this was something that was recommended last year in Poland, and I just thought, wow, you know, I mean, I'm not going to say like, oh, Polish law, they got it fucking down and they're so great, but like this was just one instance where it's like, interesting. They were wanting to pass a law. It ended up not getting passed, but they were going to pass a law where social media is not allowed to restrict speech any more than the government. Now, what I like about that is it's clean. It's just
Farm Up's a little pissed.
It takes a lot of heat off of the social media company, but also you now have this clean, even standard that everybody can understand. Now, it doesn't do anything for that 3rd hurdle that you're talking about, because to me, it's just like, you know, trolls are just a fact of life. I've dealt with many of them, and I've put many of them down because it's just fun.
You're gonna deal with it on some level,
regardless.
And
so it's, you know,
they're gonna evolve.
But that is why you do have block buttons and such like that, because I get it at one point. But to me, it's like, I think you can do that personally. You can personally block someone from you seeing it, but to ban them from the platform altogether is a different issue entirely, because I am one of those advocates that believe that sunlight is the best disinfectant. And if you run to the intellectual hall monitors, that's just kind of confessing a lack of certainty in your own position.
It depends on the commitment of the troll and how deep they are in on wanting to troll one specific person or platform.
You know, I will give you that. But yeah, to me, it's just wow. So Chicken, is this your show? But yeah, to me, it's just like you said, Ty, I don't know how you overcome that last hurdle. To me, when you're wanting a standard that's even, I think that's the best way that you go with it, that you just say you can't restrict speech any more than the government does. Takes all the fucking heat off of them. And I'm sorry, I would probably get a Twitter at that point,
So
because
that's exactly what Gab's
This
point of
bitch
view
is
It's
spitting.
just- but Gab came along. Okay, so Amanda Tripp says just bide your time and wait for a worse troll to take up your band.
That's
spot.
exactly what she did.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, the thing is, like, I always
She
bring
found
up,
one.
like, when you ban these people, they don't go away. They don't like evaporate into the ether. Like Lauren Southern, she's been banned like 500 times, and she's fucking back, and she's still around, and like God bless her for it too. And so, like, when you try to ban people away, they don't go away.
Starting to when you start banning people at mass, like we've seen over the last, like it started. Who was the first big one? Like Alex Jones was like one of the first real big names that got banned.
That's
but
when
all
we
that
all knew
did,
the fix was in.
yeah, and then more and more and more and more kept happening after that, and it was just like, holy shit. But now every time I hear so and so got banned, I'm like, oh, now I want to know about him. Like maybe I hadn't heard of him. Like Stefan Molyneux, I hadn't heard much of him before. Like you'd mentioned him a few times, Phil, but I never paid attention to him a whole lot. When I heard he got banned, I'm like, okay, now I'm like, okay, where's he at? I want to go hear this guy's ideas, because obviously
it's all about the street cred. That's what it is. It's street cred. Banning equals street cred now. And now it's take away censorship, street cred goes away. So how popular can these people be? Do we really want to eradicate censorship?
Right.
Do
it's the
we want to
Streisand
eradicate
effect, though.
censorship?
Well, I mean, think about
That's
just
how
like
we've been so successful.
Like in 2000,
yeah, sure.
like 14, you had to do some really, like, I remember Destiny was saying this in 2013, 14, you had to do some really bad shit to actually get banned on social media.
Now you don't have to.
And now it's people are so fucking sensitive, and because it's kind of the old classic tale of the person who reads all the pornography that see what's fit to be published and not is the person most likely to become debauched. And now the person that's responsible to see what things are fit to discuss and not, they're the person most likely to be way overcautious, err on the side of caution, just say, nope, you can't talk about any of this shit. Well, and so that's where we're at.
No, our latest strike was because of playing clips of Joe Biden, like Joe Biden saying shit. Like, we didn't put words into his mouth. We were just like, oh, that's what he said. And we kind of laughed at it. There were some jokes in there.
Words.
Repeated words. Yeah. Over and but I don't know. We got bullying and
I think it's time we
drop
drop the full Biden video at Castle KOE. It needs to happen.
Yeah, it was glorious. But so it's a little overly sensitive. So like you said, Ty, the first two hurdles, I can think of ways to get through it. But to me, like, I don't know, that third hurdle, a part of me just kind of thinks, get a little bit thicker skin, and sunlight's the best disinfectant. And if you think ideas are bad, prove them wrong. It's like, rather than just banning them away, because then what happens to them is they become the forbidden fruit, the Cuban cigar. Why don't you want me to have this? Why don't you want me to
make
know
it
this?
appealing?
The Streisand
don't make
effect.
something that sucks appealing to somebody.
Streisand effect's real.
I mean, like, one of the reasons why the Trump won the election narrative has stayed around for as long as it has is because it was banned to even talk about it. Because Twitter said you can't shout fire in a crowded theater and you can't question an election after it's been certified. Okay, that was when Twitter changed.
And you can't talk about vaccines.
Yes, and so that
or
was
Bruno. We don't talk about Bruno.
Yeah, like you said, like the thing that you can't speak ill about the vaccine is where you got the pushback. And so like I think in the end, sunlight's the best disinfectant. And when you try and ban this shit, it just grows. Your take, sir.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I feel like I'm abated a little bit because I know that we don't agree
That's
on
what
this
Phil
one. We never
does.
really have. Yeah.
No,
So anyway, look,
I resemble that remark.
I
Nobody's
really
safe.
I do have some respect for the libertarian argument that if you don't let an idea basically get thrown into the meat grinder and purified, it's just gonna stick in there like a malignant cancer. But there's a level where that does work, but there's also a level where it doesn't. Cancers are cancerous, and that if you don't take care of them, they spread like wildfire. So yeah, you have to deal with this in a particular way, right? We saw that the rise of social media, while being a wonderful thing because I can talk to people literally like you guys all over the planet, different time zones, thousands of miles away. We can literally just get together and act like we're friends in the same way that we're all in the same room. Is that allowed all the crazies to do the exact same thing? And so now you have flat earthers, which used to be basically the village idiot, now have their own communities.
Yep.
And if people
Yeah.
openly don't realize,
I don't know. I think we need to
good.
normalize that though. That's
It's
a good
always
thing.
It's always useful to be able to establish first principles. Come to think of it, how can I prove the earth is round other than this is what I've always been told and I've never heard anything else? So, to me, I think that's always a valuable exercise.
Yes.
And
where did he touch you, grow the farm up?
And so even people who think really stupid shit, like I think, let them get in a group and sunlight will disinfect this particular illness, in my opinion. Because, disproving flat eartherism, disproving fascism, disproving Marxism, these are no great brain feat. Okay. This doesn't take a lot of brain power to do.
Just gotta read a couple books and you got this. Yeah.
You don't even really need to do that.
Like I can explain socialism and communism to a child pretty goddamn quickly.
Yeah, it doesn't take
truth is perspective. That's where we're at. Look, it doesn't matter what the fucking truth is. Joe Biden fucking said this before he was elected to office. Truth doesn't matter. It's all about facts and truth. It's all perspective. We don't get it.
We choose truth over facts.
There you go. It's all about perspective. People choose the truth that they want to choose. And nothing else fucking matters. Does not matter what you say, Phil, and how convincing you are. It doesn't matter how hard I ride the fucking fence. It doesn't matter how hard, like, Tom Pinion of the Tomfoolery Show simps for the Democratic Party while claiming to be a Republican. No, it's all about perspective. It's all about perspective. Perspective is truth, and that's the only thing that matters to the general populace. It's sad, but it's true.
Subjectivism, yuck.
And it's
all right,
but it's true.
You know what?
We get our final thoughts on this and start giving our outros and get our asses over to the post show. I have to work at 5 a.m. So this is scary time.
Slide on over to the post show. Let's.
You know what, Ty? Why don't you take the first final thoughts?
Okay, so my final thoughts on this is that there is a level where things absolutely do need to go through the crucible. This is why one of the big reasons I'm actually consider myself a right winger. I hate the stupid ideas that progressives throw out where they're just going to fix everything in the world. They're not. And those ideas need to be challenged. They need to be tested 1000%. I'm on board. So, that is why we have freedom of speech, is to have that tested. However, in the age of the internet, I am now thoroughly convinced that there is a point to where you have to accept that people just aren't going to be on board, that you have to either drag them kicking and screaming, or you just have to write them off as kind of being delinquents intellectually, that you just really shouldn't entertain them as being part of the normal social structure. I know it's a very anti-liberal idea, but it's actually my biggest criticism of liberalism. It doesn't know how to deal with people who do not conform to the society in a willing manner. And that is going to be the biggest hurdle that the United States, whether it be Republican, Democrat, or just all of us together, are going to have to deal with, is that we are looking at a future where whether you're right wing, left wing, is that whoever wins the culture war is that not everybody's going to conform to the narrative and the normative of what we think the future is supposed to be. And you have to start asking yourself, what are you going to do with those people? That's a huge conversation that we're going to have as Americans this decade.
Okay. Tony,
Yeah.
Phil?
I'll just go quick. Look, again, to me, it's down to a popularity contest, and it's about exposure. And unfortunately, it's been really, really easy to see exposure from politicians, and it's not necessarily about being right or being informative or being factual. It's about being prominent in the public's eye. And if you're prominent enough and you say the right things enough, repetitively enough, people will start to believe you. Doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. And that's the thing that worries me about every election, every time. If you can actually say something and mean it, and you can convey that message and mean it enough that people will actually listen to you and vote for you, God, that'd be great. But that's it's so far few between. It's unfortunate. Go ahead.
I've been thinking about how to formulate this, and I think this is probably the best way. Now, Ty, I understand what you're getting at here with, there's some people that just should not generally be engaged, and you shouldn't really consider them. But to me, if any society, this is always the downfall of any society.
Chris O'Dowd had an Irish.
Hang on, chicken. The downfall of any society is when there is a certain segment that says, this portion of the population, we shall enforce the fact that they will remain unheard. They will not be considered. Yeah. We will not look to them for anything. And the minute you have some group that we shall say through legal force of law shall remain unheard, that is when you get to very, very dangerous moments in our history. So I get it. They might not be savory, but these are still people that live on this fucking planet with us. And even if you try to silence them on social media, they're still here. And so that third hurdle you talk about, I get it, but I think that's what the block button's for. Maybe, folks, let us know in the comments to this video and to KOE Nation videos and Tiberius D videos and Big Buckin videos what you think about that. But with that, let's get into our closers, gents.
Well, okay. I'll get into mine finally.
Go ahead, Chicken.
Phil always forgets that I'm even here.
I know, Chicken. Chicken's like,
well,
Phil.
I treat you like prime, like you're like just the moderator that doesn't.
Am I supposed to just be the guy that's just like not saying anything?
You're just here. What you have to say doesn't matter, Chicken.
I know. Well, to Phil, yeah.
It just gets in the way of more Phil KOE speak.
Yeah. It does. Yeah.
KOE Nation, y'all.
Feels like fuck Chicken. Fucking asshole. Fucking hate that guy.
Fuck Jimmy Carter.
No, I agree with Tiberius. Fuck social media. Get off there. Use it as less as possible. I know sometimes it might not be a necessity, but it's a thing. You just gotta deal with it, and you gotta be on some of that. I have 14. I just looked. 14 different social media apps on my phone. I get on 3 of them regularly for very limited amounts of time. Every morning I post a very knowledgeable, I drop some truth bombs on everybody on Facebook every morning. First thing I do when I wake up, I drop something fucking very, very helpful that will change your goddamn life if you actually pay attention to it and actually use it. And then on Twitter, I usually troll for about 10 minutes.
Call
and then
Milano a cunt.
Yeah, I can't do that anymore.
So you're the kind of person that Ty is trying to get kicked off. God damn it.
Yeah. And then I use my work social media thing to just what my people that work for me did. And then I just it's like a Facebook thing. But other than that, I don't really fucking use them. So yeah, if you can avoid them. They're not worth it. They are poison. They're awful. They are remember the drugs we talked about at the beginning of the night, the things that are bad for you and like
that aren't
mind altering,
that bad. Yeah,
the mind altering things. Yeah, I think they're more mind altering and dangerous for you than marijuana, and potentially other medicated drugs that you can get from prescriptions or even off the street. That's my personal thoughts on there. I am Chicken. I am your emperor of Big Bucking Empire. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. I appreciate you all. We are going to have a post show. Make sure you check the Linktree link down below, scrolling across the bottom. And Tony just popped that sumbitch up like it was just fucking magic. Like he knew I was going to bring that shit up.
Like a penis.
Talk about it.
Like a penis.
But let's go around the real quick. Tiberius, thanks for joining in.
Yes.
A pleasure.
Next time, bring some drinks. It's more fun when you're drinking because then we get a little loose and we get a little mouthy.
Okay, I will happily smoke, but you do not want to see me drinking. I turn into a complete asshole.
Dude, that makes it more fun. I want to see you drink.
Now we have to.
Time.
Now people are going to be buying stars for you to take drinks now. This is going to be awesome.
I like that.
So Tiberius, I think I speak for both these gentlemen. You are welcome anytime on this show.
I appreciate it.
Good
Absolutely.
Sir.
This is fantastic, man.
Very good. Good points. Great intellectual conversation that we don't always get all the time. Usually we're silly on here. We get a little shit faced and just
we're assholes. We're assholes.
But it's nice.
That's the problem.
All of this is true.
Kind of assholes.
But now, Ty, I do my own introduction for everybody, and or outro for everybody. It's beautiful. But this is your moment. You have the floor, sir. What is there anything you'd like to say to the people?
All I'll say is I hope I made some pretty good points that you guys found interesting. If any of that is if any of that sounds palatable to you, where it's like, hey, you know, whether you agree with me, whether you didn't, but you want to hear more, there is plenty of content that you can find on my Twitch and my YouTube, particularly my YouTube. I pretty much throw everything up there that I do on a regular basis. I throw it up on there. You can watch that out. Sometimes it's Mask Off, where you can see me and KOE and a few other people just usually hanging out, chatting with each other, like a show like this. Sometimes I do a lot more in-depth where I bring in experts or I bring in people that are kind of in the know, and I do talks about either by myself about Ukraine, or I had a wonderful guest named Colonel Dan and a few other enlisted and officer people who had served in the United States Armed Forces, talking about what they saw in that situation, what they thought of it. If any of that sounds are good with you, Geopolitics Tiberius D, that's the thing you search for. If you're looking for me just to kind of chat about all the things I like, Reviews with Tiberius D, or the Mask Off podcast, if you just want to see me hang out with a bunch of people. There's so much more that I can really get into, but I'm out of time. So thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it. And I hope you all swing by.
Good shit. Thank you, sir. Tell me what you got, bud.
I got nothing for you. I'm just here, and I'm just glad to be able to sit down this week, enjoy a couple of dirty beverages, and I got my one beer chug in tonight, and it was it burnt my heart, but it is what it is. It's National Beer Day, so I got it in. And other than that, I'm killing a few bottles of whiskey, and no, I really don't have a lot to complain about this week. Honestly, I feel overall, if we can get to a place where, I know this is completely ridiculous, but if we can get to a place where social media is a place where people can actually go to vent and be themselves without social just lynching and
Tony, can I just say it for you? Can we see titties without kids sucking on them?
Okay, that's what? Hang on. Say it again.
What?
Can we see titties without kids having to suck on them?
Okay, that's
the only way you can.
That's the only way you can. That is a preview for the post show. Save that shit for the post show. Well, folks, Chicken, folks, enjoy this final episode of Big Bucking Empire. It's been a great run, folks. You can find the Dog and Chicken Show next week on the new home at KOE Nation on YouTube, folks. As I'm known to say around here,
Jesus.
All that being said, thank you for joining us here at the Big Bucking Empire, episode 133. We're getting a little musky tonight, folks. This has been an incredible journey. We have had an amazing guest come in this evening in Tiberius D. Be sure to check out Tiberius D on YouTube, Tiberius D on Twitch. Go to patreon.com/Tiberius_D if you find anything of value here to give just a little piece of value back. But folks, that also, be sure to head over to KOE Nation on YouTube, KOE Nation on Twitch, KOE Nation on TikTok for all of your KOE content, folks, so we can be together in this amazing journey on called life. And then be sure to subscribe to the Big Buckin' Empire on Facebook and on YouTube, folks, to join the Big Buckin' Empire.
All right.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. I hope all of you make it back here happy, healthy, much the wiser. I am the devilishly handsome outlaw himself, your king of extreme, the man of the hour, the man with the power, the man that makes the other podcast cower, the prince and potentate of the political parlance, and one damn handsome man, if I do say so myself. Signing off and handing it off to my indomitable broadcast partners. Tony, Chicken, take it away.
As always, folks, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you. We don't know what day.
I don't know.
Week. We'll make it work
at some point. Just look, follow the goddamn YouTube channel. My God, at this point, if you haven't followed the YouTube channel, it's your own damn fault. Follow it. Yeah. You'll know when we're going to be up. Follow the Facebook page. That's when you'll know we'll be dropping the goddamn live episode. There you go.
And you want to see some titties? Apparently, we're going to do
Join the post show. I'll get a nipple out. How about that?
How about that?
All right, close to having this.
Anyway, as always, folks, appreciate you. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to see if it just smooths itself out.
Back, tell you what I'll do. If I ever get back, I promise to refabricate you. Raging rivers of gold. That's what the brochure advertised. And now we're lost. We gotta take it down. Let you down slow. It's hard to